Hello and welcome. We are doing our live. We are live and ready to go. And we are getting ready to do a Q&A with me, with Jackson Trent, the voice of the Joker. Our host is going to be joining us in just a second, so I'm going ahead and getting that live started so you guys can be pouring in before we start tackling some of those questions. And you just dropped an edit of Joker and Jason. I'll have to check that out afterwards. You can always send it to me too, and that way I can definitely be sure that I get to see it. Hi, Jackson. Hello. How are we? We're getting started here in just a few minutes. Appreciate everybody who sent in questions. My alt account. Dope. Hi, Jackson. Hello, Sarah. So thank you again for all the questions you guys sent on Discord. It's not too late. If you are a member in our Discord chat, you can go in and there is a section where you can ask me questions. So if you think of any before we're through and you want to go ahead and tack those on, or maybe by me asking a certain question gets you thinking, oh, well, I should ask this, then that's a great spot to go. Hello, Jackson. Hello there. It's a great place. You can, a long-time watcher and rising star in your live. Hey, nice. Hello. So yeah, you can put your questions there, and we're going to do our best to answer as many of them as we can in this window. I hope you guys are all having a lovely Sunday so far. Hopefully it hasn't been too demanding. It's been nice, relaxing. All in preparation of the finale, which comes out in 8 days. We're 8 days away. It's so exciting. Hey, Jackson. Hello. 8 days away from the premiere for the finale. I'm so excited for you guys to see it. There's so much that we all want to talk about that we can't. Hello, brother. Yes, in-game poster. Indeed. I know this is my nerd spot where I have my movie room and all that stuff, and when I watch things and play games, it's all in here. But yes, there's so much that we want to talk about in regards to the finale. We'll get more of you, Joker. Hey, you will. I know. I've been patiently biding my time. But it's almost there. You guys have been very patient since the pilot, waiting for the return. And now the return is just right around the corner. I'm excited for me in the finale too. Hey, yo, hello. Yes, and again, hello for those of you just joining. Hello, we are going to get started with the questions in just a second as soon as the host drops in. In the meantime, I'm here to just greet you guys and get you all excited about 8 days away from the finale. We got some fun stuff in store. Hi, hello. Even as the days go on, as the countdown continues, we'll have some more time to get excited about that as well. I said we've got more people joining, longtime watchers here. This is great. I have not done a Q&A since the pilot came out several years ago. I did a Q&A with David where we kind of talked about the pilot for about 2 hours with Goth Waifu, and that feels like forever ago. So in the meantime, now this is it. I'm back. We're ready to go, ready to answer some questions that aren't spoiler related. I'm trying to look at the stuff on your walls. I know, there's a lot. I've got a lot. I've got my Dark Knight Rises poster. I've got my Endgame poster. I won the Endgame poster, actually, because me and my friends, we did predictions about what was going to happen in Endgame, and we said whoever got the most predictions right won a poster. So thanks, Bryce. Got my little Jurassic Park there, my Star Wars: The Clone Wars final season poster, the special comic book release of James Gunn's Suicide Squad. I got a little West Side Story up there. That was my first feature film I did called I Like Me. That was Quentin Tarantino's Hateful Eight. They did a little tour. It came with a little bag. You kind of can't really see it there, but up there is Castle in the Sky, which is probably not Castle in the Sky. Yes. Definitely one of my favorite Studio Ghibli films. Love Studio Ghibli. And then up there, you can't see it, is the most recent Mission Impossible poster. I've got here the wand, the Elder Wand from Harry Potter, which I got in New York. And then I have right here is See You Soon, Space Cowboy, Cowboy Bebop, love it. This one most recently from Project Hail Mary. They had these little patches and coasters and stuff, and I thought they were pretty cool. Yes, Studio Ghibli is the best. I love Studio Ghibli. And I think I'll rotate this for just a second, but I've got my whole, this is where I watch my movies, everything right there. So definitely have the nerd room. My wife is very sweet. Okay, I think we is here. I need a joined. Perfect. All right, that means we are getting ready to get started. And me like an amateur here, I just need to let her in. And all right. Let me scroll back up to where she jumped in our call. And then I can let her in just a second. You get this is my focused face. There we go. Okay. All right. Okay, there we go. Hello, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. Honestly, I've been so excited all day.
Hey, me too. I've just been showing off my my movie room.
I saw it's like amazing. Honestly, I wish I could have that amount of posters. My wall's pretty tame in comparison. All I have are like these shelves with my books and stuff, and then over here just a couple more things. I wish I could have like all of that. That looks amazing.
It's cool though. Oh, it's long time. Been putting this stuff together for a long time. But yours looks cool too. It grows.
It's a start. It's a start. Oh my god. Okay.
I know we're here, day 8. You've been
Day
crushing
8.
it so far with all the challenges and the games and stuff like that. You know, you've been on fire.
Thank you. Honestly, I'm just so excited to have, the community be like really a part of this countdown process. Especially because, it's because of them that we've been able to get this far. So I really wanted to include them, because it's as much for them as it is for us. So yeah, this is more like my little passion project within the passion project.
Wow. So great. And you've been doing a great job with it.
Thank you. I mean, and you guys as well. I've been watching Noah edit. And it's been like all the clips are blowing me away. So I really can't wait for the premiere.
You've probably seen more than me at this point.
Probably. But honestly, everything I'm seeing, I'm excited for you guys to see as well because it's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh, that's gonna be a fun when we do a little talk back after we watch the finale. There's gonna be so much to talk about.
Oh my god, I'm pulling up the questions now. Are you ready for your first Q&A?
I am. I'm ready. Let's bring it on. Let's bring it on. I'm ready. I've got answers. It might not be the answers people want to hear, but I've got them.
Okay, let's see. Do you know how you can switch it so you're big again?
Oh, yes. Yes, I think so. Wait, how do I do that? Oh. Hey,
there we go.
There we go.
There we go.
I'm learning
Where
stuff
can I
today.
watch the series? You can watch it on YouTube.
Yes.
There's a
available on
link
YouTube.
in the profile's bio for the link tree where you can find all of the links associated with the series, including the YouTube, the Discord, and all of the other social medias. So go check it out.
Yes, go check it out because there might be spoilers coming up.
I mean, we'll try to avoid them as best as we can. Otherwise, Noah might. But we'll try.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready. Let's do it. Bring it on.
All right. Okay. So for our first question, how did you decide what specific Joker voice you were going to do, considering all of the different interpretations?
That's a good question. I think most Jokers are iconic by the way that they talk. But for me, Mark Hamill is what I grew up with. Even though by the time, I was born in 95. So by then, Batman the Animated Series I think was just getting ready to end, or was getting ready to evolve into the New Adventures or something like that. And so, but it was like I would always watch the reruns on WB Kids on Saturday morning, and that was just, it was my favorite ever. And so I just instilled in my brain, you know, Joker is Mark Hamill's, and I knew that, you know, that's the kind of voice that I wanted to do, or that was the biggest ingredient, because there is a little bit of everybody. It's not just necessarily a straight up Mark Hamill impression, because then, you know, we'll have Mark Hamill for that. It helps that, you know, he hasn't really done it live action. So, you know, we haven't really heard that voice with live action. But definitely a little bit of everything. But the biggest was Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill's Joker, trying to find something that's unique and presentable that lets me play around with depth and speed and height and all of that stuff. You know, something that's very flexible, very presentational. You know, because that's what it's all about. But yes, Mark Hamill.
The way you can just switch between the voices is amazing. Like, wow.
Oh well, it's fun. I love doing it for sure.
You should definitely, like, if they open voice acting spots for their Joker, I think you should definitely reach out. Just saying, like the next Lego Batman game or the next animated series.
Well, it's funny. I've been doing like at least a version of this voice for, I think, at least 15, 16 years.
Oh my God.
Because back when I was 16, I started voice acting. I got my own equipment. I got my own microphone, my foam shield, whatever. And, you know, when you're first starting out, you do a bunch of, you know, free stuff on YouTube. And one of the big things people were looking for at the time were Joker. And so I was like, oh, great, I can do that. And so I started working on it, and it was crap, you know, at the time. But it's funny how it evolved. And some people wanted Mark Hamill, and some people wanted more of a Heath Ledger, and some people wanted more of the Jack Nicholson. I would like go through and work on each one until it just kind of became this like marriage, this like pseudo Mark Hamill that everyone sort of wanted. And so so now I get to, you know, bring it to life and be like, oh yeah, this is that voice that's kind of grown and mature over the last decade plus that now gets to, you know, come out and be a part of this character.
Yeah, so now it's like definitely your own character at this point. Like, it's yours now.
It's as much mine, you know, as it can be, while also belonging to those who have come before.
Of course. But yeah, I think you've definitely made it your own in the way that, you know, if someone were to bring up a lineup, they would know who you were. Like, if I were to hear all of them, I would definitely recognize your interpretation of it. And that's awesome, honestly.
Well, thank you. I have fun doing it.
Of course. Okay, are you ready for your second question?
Let's do it. Second question. Come on, bring it to me.
Okay. Was it your idea to keep the curly hair for your Joker?
Yes. Well, so it was a mutual agreement, and it kind of worked out because, if there's other questions about this later on, I'll save the full explanation for when we get to those questions. If there's more, otherwise I'll explain it later. Yeah. But actually, when we were shooting the pilot, at the same time, I was here in Georgia doing a production of Guys and Dolls, the musical. And I was playing Nathan Detroit. And they wanted kind of like how my hair is now. They wanted that for that. Because honestly, with my hair, every time I get something, I'm like, you just tell me how you want it, you know? And then I'll make it happen. And so I already kind of had it long for that, but we also wanted to keep it long as sort of a nod to a sort of more of a Heath Ledger, Joaquin Phoenix kind of look that is kind of just, it can come off as unkempt. It can come off as messy, but like messy with a choice, not necessarily messy as in lazy.
Yeah.
And we felt like it helped attribute that style, because, you know, I feel like there's so many different interpretations of the Joker in comic books and video games and movies and TV shows. And so, you know, we try our best to give like a wink and a smile to as many of them as we possibly can. And when it came to sort of the hair choice, it was like having those kind of longer curls it was like, yeah, let's do that. Poof.
Yeah, and it looked great, honestly. Like a lot of people were wondering that. So
yeah, that was
definitely a good choice.
Oh, good. I'm glad that people liked it.
Yeah. Okay, the next question is a really good one that I'm really excited to hear what your answer is. Did you have
Okay.
any moral issues with playing slash immersing yourself into a character so evil?
Oh, that's good. That's a good question. I think for me, I went to the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts up
Wow.
in Manhattan. And, one of the big things we would tackle is, when you're playing the antagonist, the villain, what does that look like? And one of the big things is always, and anyone who's ever gone to acting school will know this answer. It's that when you're playing that role, you're not thinking, "Ha, I'm the bad guy."
Yeah.
There's always a justification for your responses. I do think the Joker gets very close to being like, I'm the bad guy. Like there's no fooling
Rhyme or
it. But
reason.
yes. So, but it's like getting into the depths of that sort of that justification of why am I the way that I am? Why am I doing this? And I think with Joker, sort of like going back to the Dark Knight with Heath Ledger, he's an agent of chaos. Chaos, there's no control, there's no limits. And even though I would acknowledge myself as a villain, as the Joker, it's more of because I know that they would categorize me as the villain. And so I'm playing the part almost.
Cool.
If it means I get what I want, then that's part of the part. Not that I'm playing the part of the villain, but that you're gonna label my chaos as being the villain. Then yeah, okay, I'm the villain. I'm
Yeah,
the
so
bad
just
guy, right?
living up to people's expectations and their assumptions.
Exactly. And
Oh,
that
that's
can
awesome.
weigh, morally.
Yeah.
We know there's a lot of actors who, speaking of which, Heath Ledger,
Yeah.
rest in peace. There's a lot of actors who almost went too far with it, or couldn't get back out of the darkness. And I definitely did not want to do that. But I also wanted it to feel real at the same
Yeah.
time. I didn't want to phone it in because of that. Because I don't think you have to go that far with the role. And I think there's a temptation now, and unfortunately I think Jared Leto kind of hit this on the head, where you have to be like so out there, like you have to be absolutely nuts. And it's like, well, Joker is always grounded. I'm always grounded in the choices that I do and what he does and his attitude and everything. It always has an objective. He's not being crazy for crazy's sake. There's a reason for everything. It's just the reasons are crazy.
Yeah.
And I've had the opportunity to play a lot of really dark roles over the years. And every time I tackle it, there's a part of me that's like, I have to go there for two big reasons. One, to make the hero look better. And two, to bring justice to the opposing force. And those two things have helped with that. And I could talk on and on and on and on and on about this because there's other little things that I would do as the Joker to get there and get out. But I'll save that in case that comes up as a question later.
But we would love to hear more about that because this is like super interesting, especially
Well, I love
because
it.
yeah, it's like amazing, especially because there's so many different ways for you to like immerse into a character. So hearing about how different people have different methods is definitely like really interesting. And yeah, man, that's awesome. Okay, another question. How many hours did your makeup take for each filming session? And did you need to reapply?
Oh, the makeup, the makeup, the makeup. I can't necessarily tell you how long it took because for me, the makeup was part of getting into character. It was almost a religious experience for me. And so, if I'd been like, okay, makeup time, boom, 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 like doing all my stuff, it probably would have taken me an hour, maybe less. But I would savor it. I'd take my time. I'd have some music playing. Shirley Walker's themes from the animated series of Mask of the Phantasm, Zemmer's themes, Elfman's themes. Just kind of going in the background. Also some Broadway show tunes that I believe this version of Joker listens to.
You can definitely mention some. I'm sure people would love to hear.
Oh yeah,
what they are.
Put on a Happy Face from Bye Bye Birdie, definitely. The top three would be Put on a Happy Face from Bye Bye Birdie, Send in the Clowns from A Little Night Music, Stephen Sondheim, and not really a Broadway song, but Smile, as featured in the Charlie Chaplin film Modern Times. And that was my thing, I apologize. I'm rabbit trailing all over the place.
Don't apologize. Don't apologize.
Charlie Chaplin's one of my favorite actors of all time. And they did a biopic of him where Robert Downey Jr. plays him, and it's called Chaplin. And then they later on came out with a musical called Chaplin about him too. But he always, there's a scene in the opening of Chaplin where Robert Downey Jr. is like taking off the makeup and he's turning from the tramp into Charlie Chaplin. And I always loved that scene. And so for me with the Joker, it was like the opposite. I was putting the makeup on and it was going from Joker to this. Because that was one of the things that I would talk about with Noah a lot was, there's two takes on the Joker. There's the take like the Jack Nicholson, Mark Hamill take where he falls into a vat of acid and then that's just how he is. He doesn't really have to put any makeup on. It's just who he is. Then there's the Ledger, Joaquin Phoenix, Cameron Monaghan approach, which is it's applied, he's putting it on. And so we were like, okay, well that changes everything based off of what we're doing. And him and I just kind of agreed instantly. We're like, the makeup, that's the approach we're going. And it wasn't that necessarily like, we don't want to have to apply it all over my body, every time I show any skin other than my face. It was just more of the idea that the Joker, like Heath Ledger, gets almost his personality and his attitude from the makeup that he puts on his face. And so I would always treat that very seriously. Like we did the pilot, it took hours. I want to say it took, give or take, 3 hours.
Oh my God.
To put the makeup on for the pilot. And I wasn't holding up time. He was doing stuff with David because he was getting David all bloody and whatever for the, in the pilot and beating him up. So he's working on David and they're getting the shot set up and the set set up. So like I had the time. But we were trying to figure out what would work. So I would come out and I'd be like, what do you think? And he'd be like, maybe like more black, more white, less red, or like less black, more red. And so I would go on and finally I would come out after about that 3 hours and I was like, okay, what do we think? And he was like, that's it. That's the Joker. And so it just kind of clicked in my brain. So then when I came back to do the finale, I knew how he wanted it. And just applying it and putting it on. I think I'm not spoiling anything because it's in the trailer, but you see me do the bit with the red. And it was funny because it becomes such a thing for me to do that Noah actually, wrote that kind of into the finale script that he wanted to show Joker kind of like putting it on. Because there's something so maniacal and insane, but also grounded, which almost makes it crazier. Because I don't know, it's hard to explain. Yeah. And when I was in school, we spent a whole section, we spent several months working on kabuki, if you're familiar with, the Japanese theater art.
The mask.
And we would work, like we'd be in class and my teacher would hand us a mask of whichever we were going to work on that day. And he goes, okay, today this is your mask. And so we were taught to like treat it with such reverence and such respect. And like, you could just feel it in the room. There's this sense of like the mask you get, depending on the style of mask, you can just feel it kind of activating you, like a less comedic Jim Carrey in The Mask. And so with the Joker, that mask is the makeup. And so putting it on, and as far as reapplying it goes, it's an oil-based makeup. So it's actually great because I don't even feel it. Like it's not hot. It doesn't make me sweat. I don't really feel it on my face.
It's like a second skin almost.
It really is. The only bad part about that is sometimes because we'd shoot for 12 plus hours sometimes, I would forget sometimes that I would have it on and I would joke around because people would come to set like to visit or someone's family member or like some crew member coming in later in the day. And I'd be like, hi, I'm Jackson. And they'd be like, and I'd be like, oh, I have the makeup on. But I have to be careful because it's stuck to everything. It sticks on everything, which is fine. Like in the pilot, when we have our fight scene, at the end of the fight scene, it was fine. It could stick to everything because we just had this huge fight. And, I really wanted it to be on my fingers. So when I would put the makeup on my face, I wouldn't wipe it off my fingers because I loved that sort of Ledger aesthetic that he does. So you can kind of see the, like under my fingernails and on my skin, like you can see that I put it on and didn't even bother to like wash my hands afterwards. And so you know, sometimes it would be on my hands, be on my face, and I'd like lean down, like right in the beginning of the take. No fight scene has happened yet. Like I'm like, you know, welcome to the madhouse. You know, nothing's happened yet. But sometimes I accidentally would go like this, and it would leave a whole face print on my shoulder. And so then they'd have to, you know, pause, cut, and come over with a makeup wipe and wipe down the whole suit.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's crazy.
That's honestly, that's happened in so many of the school plays I was in, because I was in charge of I was in charge of makeup for like the more like full face makeup, and this one time I had to paint my sister blue. She got that everywhere, like even before the first run, blue all over her costume. I was like, stay still.
Oh gosh, it gets everywhere.
Everywhere. It's kind of amazing how much it stretches out to get everywhere.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's kind of awesome. You just leave a little bit of the Joker behind everywhere you go.
Exactly. A little bit of me to you.
We love that. Kind of branching off of this like whole conversation, how do you think your classical theater training helps in your interpretation of the Joker?
1,000%. I love theater. Theater is my favorite form of acting. It is. It's such a dream and a passion for me. There's something eclectic about being on stage. You know, if you forget your line, you forget your line. That's it. There's no back to one. There's no cut. There's no nothing. You know, where on a film set, you're told we're going to do scene this and this today. So then you memorize this and this, and you go in and you crush it. Where a theater perspective, we're doing the whole play today. So you have to come in, you have to have the whole thing memorized, so that if they go, hey, let's skip ahead to Act 2, Scene 3, you got to be able to be like jumping right into it. So it helps from a memorizing perspective too, because every time I get the episode, I just memorize the whole thing like a play. But also, this version of Joker is very presentational. He's a showman. You know, I'm very charismatic. Which I think, you know, any good Joker sort of has that a little bit. I love the Arkham games. I won't talk about them too much now because I'm sure they'll come up again later. I love the Arkham games. I played all 3 of them right before we shot the pilot. 2 weeks before the pilot, I went through and bulldozed all 3 games again. And I love how in Arkham Knight there is a spoiler if you haven't played it now. But, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, just mute it for 2 minutes or something. I don't know. I talk a lot. But there's a scene where Batman's kind of captured people that have had the Joker blood in them. Yeah. And there's like 4 different characters. There's this girl, there's this guy, there's this buff guy, and then there's this older gentleman. Their names are escaping me now. Forgive me. But the thing that came out was that they all were sort of becoming the Joker, but they were all becoming an aspect of the Joker. Like the big buff guy was like, you know, the badass, and then the younger guy was the showman, and then the girl was sort of the flirtation, and then the older guy was like the menace, just the pure diabolical sort of mental chess the Joker plays. And so all 4 of them sort of represented a different aspect of his personality. So I sort of thought about that with all the different, you know, Jokers that are out there. You know, each Joker, whether you were talking about Cesar Romero or Heath Ledger or Mark Hamill or John DiMaggio or Cameron Monaghan or Joaquin Phoenix or Jack Nicholson, you know, whoever it is that we're talking about, it's like, okay, let's say they represent, just like those 4 characters, a personality of the Joker. Because I don't think you can ever fully capture all there is to capture with the Joker. And so for me, you know, one of the ones I touched on a lot was the showman, was the sort of charismatic thing where it's like on the surface, it's this very corny, like, oh yeah, he's being the Joker. Here he comes with the chucks, you know. But on the underside, it's like there's this whole other plan that's going on where it's like a magic trick. And so definitely when you're acting on stage, it's a very different style of acting than when you're acting on camera. Because on stage, you're projecting and you're big and the facial expressions have to be big because you got to reach the people in the back. Where when you're on film, it's usually quieter. There's a microphone, you know, and everything has to be more minute in the face. And this is one of those few times where I've actually gotten to marry the 2. In fact, I would say it's the only time where I'm playing somebody who is that theater, but also recognizes that the camera's on him at the same time. So that's been an absolute thrill.
That's amazing. Honestly, I think being able to mix those two, which I think is something you can definitely talk about with Liz, who also does theater.
Yes. Yeah, I saw her. She just did the Cyclone, and I
Yeah,
think she
right, the
was cast in
cyclone.
something else.
It was amazing. I wish
Yeah.
I could have gone to see her. Like seriously, but I think you two could definitely um get along in that regard that you both
Yeah.
mix the type of acting that you do to like further enhance your portrayals of the character, and I think that's really awesome. It's like
Yeah.
it's definitely not easy, I think.
No, but it is some of the most fun you can ever have.
Yeah, seriously. Also, for those in chat, yeah, Liz did do Ride the
You did
Cyclone
Rise the
just
Cyclone.
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you
It was
got to check her out on
amazing.
Instagram. She
Yeah,
has the pictures of her and like and it's so cool. She's so cool. She's great. She's
it's
awesome.
amazing. And before we continue with our next question, I do want to clarify, guys, if you want to leave more questions for Jackson, join the Discord. We have a dedicated channel there for you to drop your questions so that I can ask them. The link for the Discord is in the bio in the link tree, so go check it out. And if you don't hear your question, that's because it's been asked multiple times, so we consolidated all the repeated questions. Yeah, but moving on to more theater talk. So, as you mentioned in during the Kahoot, you recently finished Death of a Salesman. So, and it looked amazing. It looked like a great production.
Oh,
What kind of prep did you have to do in order to make it, the best it could be?
that was such a dream come true. I mean, anytime you do anything by Arthur Miller, it's a feast, for me, and it's the same thing with the Joker as with Death of a Salesman. Is your script is your Bible for that production, and any question that you have about your character, your objective, your moment before, um, your actions, your relationships with other characters, everything you need to know is in that script. And if you search it and you're looking for it, you can find almost anything you need. And so that's a little bit of the prep, is figuring that out. But also, it's for anyone who knows Death of a Salesman. I don't know if it's still a requirement for schools
I
in the
mean, for me
US.
it was. For me it
It
was.
was?
I graduated.
Hey!
Yeah, I graduated like
Um,
3 years ago, so it probably still is.
nice. Yeah, yeah. Death of a Salesman. The other one is The Crucible, which I actually did the year before that. I did The
Oh,
Crucible.
awesome.
It's, there's a reason why it's a classic.
Yeah.
And anytime I, prepare for those really dramatic roles, it's hard, it's difficult. Because you're having to go to a certain place over and over every night. You're having to go there every night. I would have to. I'm crying several times about the play, so I'm having to cry, every night, and you're having to turn it up, and it's one of those things where But on Broadway, I mean, people who do stuff on Broadway, they're working 8 times a week, with one day off, and so the big thing again, and this was what I was taught was, you need to bring it even more on those days where you're extra tired physically and emotionally, because anyone who's coming to see it that night is just as excited and paid just as much as the people who came on the nights where you were excited. And so that longevity of accessing that and keeping it going is also, I think, one of the ways in where the Joker's been a great experience, because being able to access that sort of dark place for an elongated period of time is something that I've practiced doing and been trained to do, and that I do occasionally. But yeah, the prep, script, always about the script, and then also the people you're working with. How fortunate are you to work with people who are listening, who are responding. I was trained in the Meisner technique. I'm a huge fan of Sanford Meisner. Which is really taking the spotlight off of yourself and just putting it on the other person. And you're listening, you're actually listening to them and letting that determine your response, which is something that is crucial, I think, in any area of your life, where you're not just so caught up in what you're saying, but you're actually listening both literally, but also emotionally and physically to the other person.
Yeah.
And so because of that, every show is like a snowflake. It's different. You don't know what you're going to get, depending on who you're with and what the kind of vibe is. And, is the person you're playing opposite of, are they like high on life right now, or are they depressed? Like that, it determines everything. And so that's why it's so precious, because the show is born when you go out on stage to say that first line, and the show dies at the end of the night when everyone's applauding. It dies. And so every night it's like a funeral because you're never gonna do that again. You know, it's gonna be different the next night, even if it's only a little bit. It's gonna be different. You're never gonna get that same thing twice, and that's what makes it so beautiful. Is that it doesn't last forever. Theater was. Sorry, I know I can talk about theater all day. I love theater.
Well, we have 4 theater questions, so you will get your chance.
Excellent, excellent.
Okay. That was beautiful, by the way. I fear, like, all of you in the cast, I know David, Johan, Liz, they all talk about the Meisner method a lot. So definitely love to see, like, the similarities and how you guys approach things using the same method.
Yeah.
It's definitely super interesting. And I feel like I've learned a lot with these Q&As, asking all these questions.
Yeah, I know Johan was trained Meisner because when we were on set for the finale, he would pull me aside and we would just start talking about Meisner, and he would, because he's taking classes right now, and so we would just go on and on and on about it, just like, you know, 2 little nerds.
But that's awesome. It's like it's so cool that, you know, you have someone to nerd out with about, like, the things you like.
For sure.
But yeah, like, David's talked about it, Johan's talked about it, Liz has talked about it. I'm sure Nick probably will talk about it at some point.
Oh yeah, it's only a matter of time.
Only a matter of time. But yes, moving on to our next question. Do you feel drawn to specific types of characters, and do you have any dream roles, theatrical or otherwise?
Continuing to play the Joker throughout my career would be definitely a dream come true.
Yeah.
As far as characters I'm drawn to, I'm a firm believer in I get cast in the roles that I'm supposed to play. So, and I'm sure that'll change with age, with other projects, but I've always believed that whatever I get cast as is who I'm supposed to play. I'm supposed to play this person. Yeah. And if I wasn't, I wouldn't have been cast, you know? I think offers are a different story, but when you're auditioning for something, I'm like, okay, you're going to put me in the role that you see me as. And so, you know, I've been fortunate enough to play a little bit of everything, but I can say that the ones that I get the most drawn to are sort of broken people. I think the ones that I have the most fun with are people who are broken, because I'm pretty broken. And sometimes when I'm playing people, you know, I'm always trying to find how they're broken, because I think everyone is.
Yeah.
But I think the depths and the patterns are different for everybody. And so finding roles where I can really sink my teeth and play it in such a way, or tell a story in such a way, because it's also like, it's not really even about me in the role. It's about the story that I'm telling. You know, what am I going on stage? How is what I'm gonna say gonna resonate? Like, the core of Death of a Salesman is a broken family. It's a father that suffers from narcissistic personality disorder. It's a mom who is completely, you know, validating that behavior, and a brother who ignores it. It's like, you know, how many people don't know, at least aren't able to relate to part of that. And so by me kind of committing to that role, bringing out and just having it resonate with somebody, I think, you know, if we can tell a story in such a way where someone comes and then after the show, they're like, you know, oh my God, that was me. That was my dad. That was my mom. That was how I reacted. That was my sister. That was my brother. That was my spouse, you know, whatever it is, because that human connection is so important. It's so important because we are what impacts us the most. And so for me, it's not even, the roles are important, but it's just like in everyday life. There's an overarching narrative. There's a story that's going on. And there are some people who play a big role in your life and some people that play a small role. But who impacts you can be the big ones or the small ones. And that's the beauty in it, you know?
I think, yeah, that really is the beauty in it, because, you know, like, it's a play, it's theater, but this could be someone's life as well. So, and art imitates life to the fullest. So I think that's definitely something that needs to be kept in mind. That was a really great answer.
Well, it was a great question, but I didn't answer. That's right. Dream roles, film wise, going back to what I said, whatever's just going to have an impact on somebody, that's a film goal. And selfishly to continue to play the Joker. Theater wise, the first thing that came to mind was as I get older, Sweeney Todd and Sweeney Todd.
Ooh,
I just feel like as the Joker, that would make everything
yeah,
comfortable.
natural progression. Oh man, that would be amazing to see. I cannot lie. That would be amazing to see. If that ever happens, do let us know.
I know.
We would love to
It
go
would
see
be
you.
so great. It would be so perfect. But thankfully, it's usually played by someone who's a little older than me.
Yeah.
So I've definitely got plenty of time for that. But
Plenty of
yeah,
time
that
to
would
build. Oh, that would be amazing. Oh man. Okay, this next question is one we've asked all of the cast in their Q&As, and I'm pretty interesting to know what you would say.
I'm excited. Tell me.
But who is an actor you would like to swap roles with in the show?
My instinct reaction is to say Liz,
Ooh.
because then I get to sit in the wheelchair. I
mean,
just
the
took
wheelchair's
all the
comfortable.
artistic stuff and threw it right out the window. That was my knee-jerk reaction. My second reaction was Eric, to get to play all the different roles that Eric has played. And that would be selfishly for me. Now, who I'd want to swap roles with because I'd like to see them in my shoes. I think I'd like to see any of the cast in my shoes, but I think the one I'd like to see the most is David.
Ooh, yes.
Because it's like he knows this project better than, second to maybe Noah, knows this project better than anybody. And so to see his interpretation from Joker, I know that it would be different than mine. And I think that's why I would want to see it so bad, because I think it would be exquisite personally. So for me, who I would play, either Barbara or all the fun goons that Eric gets to play, who I'd like to see in my shoes, David. Hands down, David.
That's a great answer. Honestly, I love that you answered it that way. Because Liz is definitely, like, the wheelchair is comfortable. I can't lie.
I know. I'm like, oh, that's
Look at
fun.
Benny. You're sitting in the wheelchair, not having to fight anybody. But yeah, I definitely think seeing David in your shoes would be really interesting.
I think so too.
I think he has like the range to really make it like his own character as well. So that would be a fun little side project.
There would be alternate universe, right?
Alternate universe. Guys, what if we ask Noah to make like a spin-off? I don't know.
We've already done a Robin spinoff,
True.
There's the Bat Who Laughs. There can be a Red Hood Joker, can't there?
I'll look it up. There probably is. Actually, no, there is.
I don't know if there is one, but I feel like there should be.
There is an AU. Okay, so in an alternate universe, the comics are called Robin Lives. Towards the end, like really right at the end, like Jason survives the Joker. He ends up killing the Joker in revenge, and has like this whole character arc where he kind of comes to terms with the fact that he broke Batman's rule, and he goes to therapy. He leaves being Robin. He like quits Robin. He like continues his education, goes to college, and he's running all of these like non-profit organizations. Probably like the happy ending for Jason. And right at the end, he takes up the Joker mantle. Right at the end. So literally right at the end, you see him putting on the makeup, and he's like, it's like this whole, like you said, it's like a ritual for him, putting on the makeup, and he's like starts laughing. So that's definitely a thing.
See, that's the beauty of the Joker. And I think me as the Joker recognizes that. The Joker is not a person, it's an idea.
So yeah, like definitely seeing that with Jason would be really interesting, because it was a really interesting like short storyline for him. So
Yeah,
maybe exploring that.
I'd love to see David would eat that. David would eat
would
that right
eat
up.
that.
No
David
crumbs.
would eat that up.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Oh my god. Okay, keeping up with the theme of other characters, if you could play another character that's part of the Batman mythos, not including the characters already seen in RHR, who would you want to play?
In the Batman mythos, I would say It's there's so many. I feel like there's so many good
There's
ones.
so many.
So I'll go with the first two that came to mind. Because there's two that popped into my brain. First one is the Riddler.
Ooh.
Love the Riddler. Um, I think there's so much fun to be had with playing someone so narcissistic. um, that's your superpower, is that you're smart and you're unbearably narcissistic. I just think there's so much fun to be had with that and the outfits and everything. The Riddler would be that, but it's tied actually with Mad Hatter.
Ooh,
Um,
I was gonna say that one for you
I would
as well.
have so much fun if they had cast someone else as the Joker, but still wanted to put me in it. I probably would have tried to pitch myself as the Mad Hatter.
That I think you would be a great Mad Hatter.
I would just,
Because he's also
I'd have so much fun. I'd be in my own little world.
yeah. Because he's also such like a theatrical guy. That's like his whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I think you would nail that. I think you would nail
That
that.
would be, I would have so much fun with it. That's for sure.
Let's pitch that to Noah.
Yeah. Yeah. An alternate universe.
Alternate, more spin-offs, guys. This
More
just keeps
spin-offs. Yeah.
going.
More material. More material. Let's
More
go.
material. And keeping up with that same line of questions, who are your top 5 favorite DC characters? It's a hard question.
DC characters? We're opening the
Yes.
umbrella to all the DC characters. Oh gosh.
It's
My
a
mind
hard
always goes
question.
blanks in moments like this because I'm always thinking I'm gonna be kicking myself later, going, "Why didn't I say so and so?"
I mean, if you come up with, quit trying to.
I would say, okay, all right, I'll
Noah's
make
in
this
chat.
quick.
Noah's in chat telling us to
I
quit
don't
trying
need
to
people.
pitch stuff.
It's a great question. And I won't sit here and sweat about it. I'll just literally just come to my mind. I'll regret it later. Number one, definitely the Joker. Even before I played the Joker, Joker was always my number one. I think he's a brilliant character. So unbiasedly, because I would have said number one before this project. I would have said he was number one. So Joker number one. Number two, obviously Batman. The fact that in the Justice League, the animated series, that Batman holds his own with all the other superheroes, and the fact that he has fail-safes of their weaknesses for each one, in case one of them snaps, I'm like, he doesn't have any powers. Like he started out as just a detective. He's a detective, and then he's evolved into this incredible character. It has to be Batman. Has to be number two. Number three. This is a basic answer, but Superman.
No, I think that's not a basic answer.
I love Superman. I think there is something, particularly like you go back to the original comics and you go back to the Christopher Reeves Superman. He's a good guy. And when James Gunn's Superman was coming out, I was so excited because I feel like, and this is no shade to Zack Snyder fans out there, but I feel like Man of Steel did him dirty. I feel like Henry Cavill was a good Superman, but the scripts and the stories and how they wrote his Superman was not Superman. They tried to make him dark. And it's like, no, the thing with Superman, he's light. That's what makes him so satisfying. And you make him, like a Boy Scout. That's what's so genius. I mean, someone whose superpower is rescuing a cat from a tree. You think, oh, that's so dumb. That's so silly. And you're like, no. Someone who has so much power that he could, destroy the moon is going to take time to fly down and get a cat out of a tree is the most incredible superhero. And there's an arc in the Justice League animated series, either Justice League the animated series or Justice League Unlimited, I don't remember which one, where Darkseid comes to Earth, and of course Superman's not there, so Darkseid's, laying waste to everybody. And then Superman finally shows up, and as much as you love Batman, when Superman shows up, you're like, okay, this is it. And he has a monologue that he gives to Darkseid where he says, every time I fight someone, I have to pull my punches. Because if I punch someone as hard as I want to, it'll kill them. Which is incredible. Because James Gunn got that, and that's what he did with the most recent Superman movie. It's like Superman has to pull his punches because he's afraid he's going to kill someone. But then to Darkseid, he's like, but you can take it, big man, can't you? What we have here is a rare opportunity for me to let loose. And then he just wipes the floor with him. And I literally was like, I love Batman, but Superman is when he's done right, which unfortunately is not as common as it should be, but when he's done right. Because then when you have Yes, and that's why I love the James Gunn Superman for multiple reasons. But he was a good guy, and he had so much light, and he was all about just doing the right thing, particularly in a world where, I mean, we live in a dark world right now.
Yeah.
Our world is more akin to Gotham than it is to Central City. It just to Metropolis. Sorry, it's more in common with Gotham than it does with Metropolis. So having a goody two shoes Superman stands out. It's weird. Someone who does something good just for goodness sake, no one does that anymore. But he set it up so brilliantly so that when Batman comes along with his darkness, it's like a chocolate covered pretzel. You gotta have both. The saltier the pretzel, the sweeter the chocolate.
Like right now, Superman is like the everyday superhero that we desperately need to see right now. In comparison
Yes.
to all of like the more bleaker news we keep like hearing and seeing, having such a bright beacon of hope as he was originally intended to be, show up and inspire like everyone. That's so important, and that's really why Superman really is up there, because
Yes.
he really like represents the good that you have in you to do kindness and be kind to others as and inspire others to be kind to you as well. So yeah, no, I don't think Superman is a basic answer. I don't think Superman is a basic answer.
Someone reposted, I think it was a quote, the kindness for kindness sake in a world where kindness is viewed as old fashioned is. So yes, okay, Superman. I'll move on. I'll do the next two really quickly. I'll just do the first two because I love so many DC characters, but I'll stay in the vein of what we're talking about. For number 4, I'll choose another Batman character. I would say huge Mr. Freeze fan, actually.
Ooh.
Because not Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze, but Batman the Animated Series,
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze, and Arkham. I love what Arkham did with Mr. Freeze, because the fact that he's doing everything to save his wife is like it makes me emotional thinking about it because I'm married now, and I can imagine that. That's not a stretch, There's a quote from the movie Chinatown, also Jack Nicholson, where one of the characters says that most people don't have to face the fact that at the right time and the right place, they're capable of anything. And if that quote does not summarize almost every villain that Batman has ever had, then I don't know what does. Almost every single one is tragic. And if Killing Joke is legit, and that is Joker's backstory, how tragic is that? So I'd say Mr. Freeze, number 4, when he's done right. And I would say number 5, going back to Superman, I'd pick Brainiac. Brainiac was always one of my favorite villains. I just think I think he does what Marvel tried to do with Ultron. And I like Ultron too, but I just think Brainiac does it better.
Yes. Going back to Mr. Freeze, I love how like popular he is now, because originally in the comics that wasn't his backstory at all. He was just like a regular burglar who had an accident. But then Batman the Animated Series came along, changed his backstory, gave us Batman Sub-Zero, which is a movie.
Sub-Zero. So good.
And like the backstory hits so well with everyone that it just got retconned to be his actual backstory, and it works. It works, like you said. Literally the one bad day quote applies to all of them. So
all it takes is one bad day.
Yeah, all it takes is one bad day, and that applies to literally almost all of Batman's villains.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree with you there that like it's such a relatable reason to like want to do what he's doing. So yeah.
Oh, I heard. Is that Catwoman? Selena, are you there?
Yeah, little
Oh.
Pino.
Oh, it's so cute.
He's
Yeah,
begging
I had to
me.
put my cat in the bedroom.
Yeah, she was sleeping and then she woke up.
What's her name?
Peanut.
My cat's name is Crypto.
If I had had the liberty to name my cats, they would have been named after DC characters. Unfortunately, I lived with 4 other people, so I couldn't just name her Selena.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. But what can you do? I have 4 others.
Peanut is an adorable name. I love Peanut.
Thank you. They're named after all the Peanuts characters. And then they're after the franchise.
That's so cute. I love the Peanuts.
I love the Peanuts. I have so many like Peanuts merch. But continuing on before we get really sidetracked.
I know, just go down Just go down to a Charlie Brown live stream for all your Charlie Brown fans out
Charlie
there.
Brown, like I'll just start dancing.
Yeah, we'll start. We should do that. There should be a point where all the characters are doing the dance moves, you know, from the. Oh.
Noah, there's your next promo. There's your promo.
Yeah, he'll get right on that, I'm sure.
Oh my god! But yeah, getting back to these questions.
Yes, yes. I know. Yeah. I'm giving you the long answers. I apologize.
No, but I love the long answers. And don't even worry about it. David gives long answers as well. I'm used to this.
Oh, cool. Great.
So, when you play cards, how do you react when you pull a Joker card?
I go, hello, gorgeous.
That's awesome. That definitely feels like a very Joker thing to do.
Oh, 100%.
Also, yeah, like Chad is saying, we love the long answers because it really gives us an insight to, you know, how you guys think, how you guys, you know, act. It puts it more into perspective for us, just how amazing the effort everyone's put into the series is, because of how much goes into it on you guys' part, because all we see is the finished product. So definitely being able to hear like all the entire process from, like, you know, from when you were studying all the way up to, you know, preparing for the role and makeup and everything. It's amazing to hear because we can appreciate it just a little bit more. So definitely keep giving long answers. We love to hear them and appreciate them like so much.
Excellent.
Okay, a little bit more.
Yes. Give me another question. Let's go. Let's do this.
Yes.
I feel like I'm warming up now.
We're just getting to like the halfway point.
Excellent.
What was your favorite stunt during episode 1? And do you have a favorite prop?
I guess technically the biggest stunt in episode 1, which was our opening fight scene. What's really cool is I'm sure David and Noah have talked about this already, but that day when we shot the pilot was actually kind of shot in reverse.
Oh.
We started with all the inside stuff. And we did that in reverse. So we ended the day. The last shot of the day was the nighttime bit. And we filmed the whole thing. Everything in the pilot with me. So they had a separate day where they went and did the Lazarus Pit and the training and all that. It was just all of my stuff. They had me for 24 hours. So I literally flew in the day before. I was actually, you know, I was doing Guys and Dolls at the same time. So literally I had a weekend run. I did my Guys and Dolls matinee performance on Sunday, then flew out early Monday morning. We filmed all day Tuesday, flew back Wednesday, and then I was teaching at a high school Thursday, Friday, went back on stage Friday night for the next weekend of Guys and Dolls.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. But the last thing we did on Tuesday night was that fight scene. And so it had already been a long day. Yeah. We were both so tired. And I think there's pictures, I think they were posted, and if not, I'll have to repost them. But there's pictures of him and I afterwards, like with the blood and the stuff on our faces and him in like the Robin outfit. And we're just like that's literally my contact picture for him is when we're both like, because it was like right at the end and Noah was like, smile. And we were like, but that was so much fun. I loved getting to do that fight scene with David. It was a blast, you know, doing it in the alleyway, just kind of knowing where it was leading and where it was going to go and all the really great lines that Noah had written and shoving those in and all of that. Just David's an excellent dance partner. So definitely the fight scene in the pilot was the most fun stunt for the pilot.
For the pilot. Do you have a favorite prop?
Just have to clarify. That answer may change later. Or it may not. It may not.
It may. Who knows? Do you have a favorite prop?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you have it. Oh, you have it.
Yes. So I can't take this on the plane, but what's funny is, so I have, of course, the crowbar. It has to be the crowbar. This is my favorite prop. So whenever I did the pilot, I wasn't super confident with how I was using the crowbar and everything, because we'd had a real crowbar and that felt great. But when we switched out to the fake one, I didn't feel as good about it. And I was like, you know, the crowbar, obviously a great Under the Red Hood, Death in the Family reference. But I think there's also another reference to where I feel like it has a lot of similarities to the Injustice Joker, Injustice 1 Joker.
Injustice 1 Joker.
Have to clarify that. How the crowbar is like what he uses. And so I actually, where I bartend here in Georgia, whenever I'm not acting, one of my regulars bought me like a Halloween crowbar and like did some stuff to it and gave it to me and was like, here, whenever the pilot was happening, I was like, hey, we're greenlit, we're going to do the finale. He brought this to me and he was like, here you go. This is your crowbar. Now you can practice it and do all that before you get there. So I was going to take it, but I couldn't get on the plane. So I kept it here, but I would literally just work on my swing. Like if anyone in my apartment complex was looking into the windows and would just see some guy like this with the crowbar, I just feel like they're like, ooh.
Oh my God.
But yes, favorite prop, 100% the crowbar. This is my baby. This is Shaniqua. She's my baby. Just so good. So the crowbar. Definitely taking the easy out on that one. Favorite prop.
I was not expecting you to just pull it out of the corner.
Well,
that was so funny.
That's Jackson's favorite prop. Joker would say his favorite prop was Harley.
Oh my God! Don't let her hear you say that.
I know. I don't know if she's still in the chat, but she gets it. It's
Damn, Harley, if you're here, I apologize for him. I don't exactly have a sensor in here.
No,
but
Joker has a mind of his own.
Yeah, we can't really control him. Arkham can't either. So, moving on. This is a Noah Bumps question. What would you change about your performance in episode 1, if anything?
Oh, I would love to just do the whole thing again. I would love to do the whole thing again. I mean, it's such a stereotype for actors, but I feel like I'm never going to be the best that I can be, but I'm always going to be, hopefully I'm always going to be better. You know, that's what I strive for. I'm never going to be the best. I'm always going to be better because, you know, as an actor, at the core of it, you're living truthfully in imaginary circumstances, right? That's what Uta Hagen tells us. And so you're bringing to the table who you are. You know, the better you are at a role, the more access you have to who you are as a person. Mm-hmm. And even if because the real wisdom comes from knowing how much you don't know. And that's the same with yourself. It doesn't mean that I know myself really well. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't know myself at all. And like that sort of acknowledgement gets you closer to who you are than I think thinking you know who you are, at least for me personally. And so, of course, as the years go by, I find that I just get live will end in 5 minutes.
What?
Unless I drag a puzzle piece.
Oh. There we go.
Okay.
It's fine. Sorry. It happens.
Commercial break. But so I find with myself, every month I'm learning more about myself. You know, I'm learning stuff that I'm not a fan of. I'm learning things that I need to work on as a person, as a human. What my weaknesses are become clearer to me, and so I'll focus on those, and then a couple months later other weaknesses, and I start to focus on those. And so anytime I look back even on something that happened a year ago, I'm like, I'd love to tackle that again, because I know for a fact that what I bring to the table would be very different this go around. And so with the Joker, it would be fun to get to just reshoot that whole thing, because I feel like it would just be better. But if I had to pick a specific moment, I think I don't know. Yeah, I guess I would just say, I would just cop out and say the whole thing.
David has said the same thing. That he would redo his performance because he feels like he's grown so much since then. So, Noah, if you're still in chat, reshoot when?
Me too. Yeah, do a director's cut, right?
Do a director's
just add
cut.
A bunch of scenes,
Oh my God. But adding on to this whole thing of what would you change and what would you add, if there was one scene that you would like to add to the character you're portraying in any, in the pilot or after, no, don't answer that in the finale. We haven't seen that yet. If there's a scene you would like to add for Joker in the pilot what would it be and why?
I don't. I think specifically with a specific scene, adding some sort of like visual reference to the Killing Joke,
Ooh.
um, which we laid the groundwork for that, because it's sort of like it's not something necessarily that will be covered or has been covered or won't be covered. It was more like having that door open so that if we cover it in the future, we can. That was our mindset when we were doing the pilot. And so having kind of maybe a clearer visual of something like that, I think is great. But I also know that at the same time, the spotlight was on Jason.
Yeah.
And to do anything like that would have kind of leaked it over to Barbara, and we didn't want to do that yet. But that's why, like, whenever I'm doing the Joker, and I'm like, and Pat Girl, whatever the hell happened to her, just kind of throwing that in there so we get that established, timeline wise, because Noah and I spent so much time, and David, on like the timeline. Okay, and we're like, okay, what's the order of things? Because we don't want to end up down the road with our foot in our mouth,
Yeah.
But if I had to just add anything, there is, and the name of it's escaping me, but I know that you'll know it, Nita. There is a one-off comic of the Joker where he helps a kid throw his birthday party. And it's like debatably the one nice thing Joker ever does, where he's coming to kill the kid's dad because his dad was one of the goons. And he shows up and the kid's like pulling legs off insects. And the Joker's like, "What's wrong, Sonny?" And the kid's like, "No one came to my birthday party." And for some reason, Joker's like, "Why is that?" And he sits down, and just the visuals of him sitting next to the kid.
I know
watching
exactly
the
which one you're
kid.
talking about. Oh my god.
And the fact that then he goes to all the neighborhood houses with like guns and crowbars and TNTs. He's like, "Hey, go to this kid's birthday party." And then it like cuts to the end of like the kid's all happy and everyone's like, "Yay!" And they're all like sweating blood. And then I go to his dad afterwards. It's the only time I've ever. I'm sure it's happened before. I have not read a ton of the comics, but it's the only time I've seen in media and the comics that I have read where Joker actually shows mercy, where he goes to the kid's dad and he's like, "I was coming to kill you today, but as his birthday present, I'm only going to take your fingers instead." And it's like, I read that and I was like, this is incredible. Like, if I ever did a one shot, if Noah was like, "Hey, let's do a one shot of the Joker, what do you want to do?" Like a Becoming Robin. Because I don't know necessarily if I want us to give up the secrets for why this Joker is the way that he is just yet. But if we did a one off, my first thing would be this kid's birthday party comic, because I just think that would be the most fun to do that.
That would be so awesome. And I think that's like one of two, because I remember there's this comic, I think it's the same comic maybe, where he's being followed around by Jason's ghost.
Oh.
He's being followed around by like Robin's ghost, and it's basically Jason like I think it was in order to get to heaven or something like that. Joker had to do one good thing, and it was basically Joker trying to do all of these things and failing while Jason's ghost is laughing in the background. I think that would also be pretty cool.
Man, we need to do that after David dies. If
David
David dies.
Well, Noah said it before. Yeah, after David dies, we could probably do that. It'll be really funny though, because he's Red Hood now, so it would be less laughing, more cursing you out the entire time.
I think that would be a lot of fun to do that arc somehow. Would be
that would be really fun. And it was like a one-off thing.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Someone said it in chat. The Joker 80th anniversary.
Yes.
The 100-page super spectacular from 2020.
So let's make it happen. Noah, if you're listening.
Noah,
if you're listening.
I think that would be really fun.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, moving on to our next question.
Next question. Give it to me.
What would you say? I know you've already mentioned some songs you associate with the Joker, but what would you say is Joker in one song?
The I think Shirley Walker's theme for the Joker is one of my favorites. Which I know that was in the Kahoot yesterday, I think. Oh no, Friday. but yeah, I love that. For me, it's that or the theme that Shirley Walker does for Batman, specifically a Mask of the Phantasm, because you know that you have the dun 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 dun, and I love how in the Mask of the Phantasm she does it with a choir. Shirley Walker, completely underrated composer, and the fact that you have a female composer coming in and crushing it with his theme songs and the Superman theme songs and the Justice League theme songs, come on!
Awesome.
She's dead now, so we can't send her our thanks, but she was before her time and incredible. And when she's like, well, hey, we want you to do Mask of the Phantasm, and she does that theme with the choir backing. Literally, that was the year we did the pilot. That was on Spotify, my number one played song, because I would listen to that song on repeat. Now, of course, I have a Joker playlist where I have those Broadway songs. I have Joaquin Phoenix's song where he's dancing in the mirror is one of those trigger songs. Hans Zimmer's Dark Knight soundtrack specifically, whole trilogy, but Dark Knight, which is so good. And then actually, so Jack Nicholson's to that Batman, which obviously classic again. Even they used it even in the Batman animated series. So I just have a playlist, and then of course the themes from Under the Red Hood, and all the Arkham stuff. I always, when I'm riding in the car with Noah on the way to set, he usually just has like Arkham City or Arkham Asylum or Under the Red Hood or something like that going in the background. And it's just like that Arkham game music gets me there every time.
It's just
so good.
The music just really adds to it. I feel like if you let yourself feel the music, I love it.
That's why Smile is probably also, if I had to pick one with words, Smile, because it's like, for me, it's a nice little Charlie Chaplin loop, because we had that song Smile was the trailer song for Joaquin Phoenix's The Joker, because they're in the background showing it's the premiere of Modern Times starring Charlie Chaplin, where the song Smile was the theme song. And so it's like, for me, it's like it comes around, it's like a close little like connection for me and Chaplin. So that's another reason why that if I had to pick a song with words, I think Smile would be at the top of that.
That's awesome. Oh my God. Okay, now, speaking of Noah, how do you reflect on the time spent working with him on the project?
Fondly. He is a wonderful guy. He and his wife both are such wonderful people, and the fact that he took a chance on me to play the Joker, and that he trusted me to work on that and to pull that off. He's a wonderful man. He's a great creator, and he's really good at what he does. And whenever I'd be on set with him and I would see kind of the gears turning in his head, it almost felt like, I was like, I wonder if this is how it felt when Spielberg was shooting Sugarland Express. Like whenever you're seeing a genius at his youngest, and you're like, because, they were all that age at some point, all the great filmmakers started somewhere. And it's like that vibe and that energy. I'm like, I would bet it's almost identical to the vibe I get watching Noah work on set.
No, yeah. There's definitely something about seeing Noah work that's just incredible. And then when you read the scripts and you see him editing, it's like he's doing everything, and he does it in a way that just ends up being so amazing. Like the final product blows me away every time. So knowing that he's like behind like all of it, like the writing, the directing, it's, I don't even have words, like really.
Yeah, I mean, he's poured his heart into it, and you feel it. I think everyone sees that too.
It really like shows up, like the screen blinds you with like how much passion he's like put into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I agree 110%.
And well, moving on to our next question now, because there's some more, but I have to wait until Noah's watching. What's your favorite thing about the fandom that has grown around this project?
I mean, that's easy. It's the fans. I think that's what makes projects like this so great. I mean, we think about, you want to look at the DC stuff that's coming out now, the Marvel stuff, the Star Wars stuff, the Harry Potter stuff, the Star Trek stuff, like anything that has a franchise and a fan base. And you look at what's coming out now. Not every single one, but we see a lot of disgruntled fans, a lot of people who are disappointed with the products. And 9 times out of 10, when someone's disappointed with the product, it's because it's not familiar. It doesn't feel like the product. It doesn't look like the product. It doesn't smell like the product. But you can just do that. I mean, when you've got millions, if not billions of dollars to pour into a project, you can do whatever you want. And if people don't like it, it's like,
That's the problem.
but when you have a project where it only happens if the fans like it, I think what results is a product with a lot of heart, a lot of soul, and a lot of attention to source material. Because who are we to come along and do our own thing and do our own interpretation, which at the end of the day, it is kind of our own interpretation, but it's not. We're just taking from everything and trying to literally wink in as many different like branches that have come before us as possible. It's like, that's where our focus is. We're not going, look at us, look how great we are. We're going, look at Red Hood. Look how great Red Hood is. And I think that's the difference when you have all these big stuff, is they're like, yeah, look, we got so-and-so famous person in our movie and big famous studios doing the movie. So you should like it. It's like, for us, it's like, no. It's not about who's playing who. It's not about who's doing it. It's about this. It's Red Hood. It's what it's all about. And the fact that like one day we had a couple thousand views on the pilot on YouTube, and I was like, oh, well, that was fun. It was a good time. I guess I'll move on with my life. To literally like, feels like overnight we broke almost 300,000 views, and being like, whoa, what? Like, what happened? And then we get wonderful people like you involved. There's a whole team of people who are involved, who are literally just doing it because they love the people, the project, or both. And that's crazy to me. It's thank you will never do it justice. The fans are what make and break this series, with no doubt.
Yeah, definitely, like, being able to see, like, well, first of all, Noah wants me to tell you that he loves you, as per chat instructions.
I love you too, Noah.
And yeah, really, like, seeing the community grow, because when I got here, episode 2 had just come out, and that was my first impression of the series, and the fandom was still like so small. So being able to see how it's like it grows and everyone's just so passionate about it, it's amazing to see and watch in real time. All of the fan works, all of the edits, all of the memes. It's like, this is what keeps it alive.
Mhm.
This is what it's about. So yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely agree with you there. And now, moving on to another Noah question. Now that I know he's watching,
Now that you know what he's watching.
yeah, I think we have a sticker like that. What's your favorite thing about Noah, and did you miss Noah? These questions were made by him. These
My
questions were
favorite-
made by him.
My favorite thing about Noah is his luscious locks.
Can't
Uh,
think about those.
Do I miss Noah? Every second of every day.
There you go.
Love you, Noah. Miss you, my friend.
It's okay. Maybe sooner than we think we might be able to get the band back together.
Ooh, that would be wonderful.
That would be wonderful, honestly.
We'll see. Who knows? I mean, who knows? Future's uncertain.
Yes, it is. Now, next question. Now that Noah's satisfied, did speaking of the fandom, how did the fandom's feedback affect what you took away from the way you play the character?
Humbled and flattered, really. I knew when I first auditioned for the Joker and I auditioned for that pilot, you know, Noah, I sent it to Noah and he shared it with David, and the two of them got back to me maybe 3 minutes, maybe less, and were like, "Yep, you're Joker. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I thankfully felt pretty confident walking onto that set. I was like, okay, I know whatever it is I'm doing, I know I'm giving them what they want. And I mean, that's all you can do. I mean, that goes back to what I was saying earlier, that, you know, you get cast, you trust that what you get cast in are projects that you're meant to be in. And this one, instantly, I was like, okay, I'm supposed to play the Joker, and this is the style of Joker that I'm supposed to play. And so you just do it and just leave it go. I didn't know what the reaction was going to be. I mean, I wasn't anticipating anybody hating it, but I certainly was not anticipating it being loved as much as it was. It made me feel really good because, you know, we talked about it from the get-go. When I said goodbye at the airport in 2023, they were like, you know, we're going to bring you back for the finale. You know, if we're able to get the funding, we can go the way we do, your return is going to be in the finale. And so there was always this sense of, you know, hopefully this version of Joker leaves an impression, because it's all been working up to seeing me again. So if no one liked this version of the Joker, then it kills all the anticipation, because you're like, oh, there's this guy. Here he comes. Here's this stupid Joker guy comes in. Oh, been dreading this episode. So
but no, honestly, it was really refreshing to see after all of the Jokers we've been getting in recent years. So yeah, like no wonder people loved it, because you killed it. So yeah.
Well, I killed him.
Well, that too. That can't.
No, it was.
Can't forget that.
I'm glad people liked it. I'm really, it's just really nice that people liked
And
it.
continue to like it.
And the
honestly.
fan art's been so cool. I get people that send me like fan art of me as the Joker. It's the coolest.
Really?
One of them's my icon on Discord. Is one of the.
Oh my
fan arts
God.
that someone made for me. Yeah, it's
that's
so cool.
awesome.
I love it so much.
Oh, that's so great. Oh my God. Okay, let's see. Because there's more questions about like that, kind of what the initial
Ask away.
sort of process was. So
Oh, yes.
what would like, you know, you said David and Noah got back to you really quick. What would you say was your initial reaction?
It was, you know, like, oh, yay. It was relief, because originally I got involved because way back in yesteryear, my brother was involved with this project, and he ended up having to step away before it could come to any sort of fruition. But at the time, he was still involved, and he was like, hey, they're looking for a Joker. I told him about you, because I knew David. I didn't know Noah, but Bridger did. And so he was like, you know, I told him about, you know, David. I worked with David on Running the Bases, which was a feature film that shot in Arkansas, in Harrison. And I was like, so I knew him. And so they were like, yeah, we want to see you. And so they sent me the side, and it was the torture sequence. I think it was the waste of time. I think it was I want to say it was the fingernail one. It was either the fingernail one or the one right before that one where I come in smoking. It was one of those two. I can't remember now. And I knew instantly, I was like, okay, because I thought about it, I was like, okay, what's the choice going to be? How am I going to balance out? What am I going to do? Because my whole thing the whole time is like, kind of what I was saying earlier, don't look at necessarily, this is me, this is Jackson's Joker. Look at it as, look at Joker. Like, don't look at me, look at Joker. And how could I tell it in such a way where I'm putting the spotlight on who has come before without, you know, putting the spotlight on myself? Because it's, you know, the role goes way beyond me. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to take a big risk. I'm pretty sure Noah probably still has it somewhere. I'm sure he can release it at some point, the self-tape I sent for them. So my brother's holding the camera, and I'm just doing it like David's there, even though he's not. And I'm just doing this whole bit, making all these big choices. Oh, come on, I'm on fire. I'm like just doing all the bits. And what do you call a belt made of watches? A waste of time. And so like I sent this to him, and I was like, okay, they're either gonna be incredibly uncomfortable or they're going to love it. And thank God they loved it. And so when they got back instantly and were like, yes, this is the one, it was just like, oh, great. There's about a quadrillion different ways to play this character. And the way I picked was the way they wanted. And I was just like, you know, thank you, God. That was very fortunate. That worked out really nicely.
Well, Noah just said in chat that he does have the self-tape. So
you should post that. So I don't want to watch it, but I think you guys would really like to watch it.
I think we might be getting it, chat.
There we go. More content. Maybe that'll be a donation prize. Donate a certain amount of money, and he'll send you your own copy of Jackson's audition for the Joker.
Indiegogo, maybe?
Yeah, Indiegogo. For 50 cents, you can access his audition tape.
Get it now while it's still hot. Oh my God. Going back to, you know, that same kind of line of questions, what were your thoughts initially going into like the series itself, like going in for filming?
My thoughts like in regard to the series?
Yeah.
I would say dream come true. I mean, you know, I mentioned this before. I had done a lot of voiceover for the Joker on YouTube. And the fact that I was going to get to play him in live action in such a professional way was like an absolute dream come true. And the set experience was incredible, and the cast was incredible. Coming back for the finale was all the joys I felt on the pilot, except, you know, on steroids, because there were significantly more people involved now in the finale than there were there when we shot the pilot. So it was like that joy had just multiplied. And it was, even if we weren't doing Batman Joker stuff, it was the best on-set experience I've ever had. And I've been on a lot of sets, and that includes all the stages and the studios and everything. To have so much love for the product and each other is not as common as it should be. And to get to be a small part of that, to get to be one of the many people, because there's so many people. I mean, any one of you guys, whenever you watch the end credits and you see the amount of names that are involved, and it's like, I might seem like a bigger part because I'm the Joker, but it's just because you see me. It's like the skin is the largest organ, but there's a couple of really important ones in here that I die without. And it's like, you know, that's sort of how it is with this. It's like, you know, yeah, I look great, and David's awesome, and Johan and Nick and everybody, but then it's like, the amount of important people behind those people is insane, and everybody is just happy to be there. I mean, we had people on set who weren't getting paid. They just wanted to be on set because they were like, we just want to be here. We just want to be here with you guys. And that's really incredible, you know?
We really just do it for the love of the game.
The love of the game.
The love of the game. And I think that's really what it's all about. Do you think Hollywood would benefit in like today from people having more passion towards the projects they're doing?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think we as people have a tendency to ruin things. I think we have a tendency to take something and turn it into things that it was not originally intended to be. I think if you go back to the original film days in Hollywood, you know, when everyone went out to LA, when Chaplin first went out and Buster Keaton first went out and Mary Astor and Fatty Arbuckle, you know, and Harold Lloyd, you had these artists who were vaudevillians, didn't make money doing vaudeville. You know, I mean, they made enough to keep doing vaudeville, but they weren't, you know, Tom Cruise or Daniel Day or Meryl Streep. They weren't these superstars. And then when film was invented, and they see it for the first time and they think, that's what I want to do. Not because I want to be a movie star, not because I want to be famous, not because I want to be anything. I want to make movies. I just want to make movies. So then they all went out to LA and they made Hollywood Land, and they told all these stories, and then they got popular and they had these studio systems and these Hays codes, and they soured and everything soured, and then they would try to reinvent themselves and it soured, and then they try to reinvent themselves and it soured, and it always soured. But it's like, but it started from a place of just wanting to make stuff. it would be incredible if Warner Brothers or James Gunn or all the above or someone else who's equally important saw what we were doing and wanted to give us a ton of money and a lot of means to get to keep making it. That would be incredible. Don't get me wrong. But if or when that happens, we'll be held to a higher responsibility to not be what's happened before, to keep that on-set camaraderie, to keep the love of the game. Because that's why so many of us do it. There's 101 million other jobs that pay better and are more consistent than movie making. And yet some of us do it because we're crazy. We're crazy for wanting to do this. And I absolutely, Hollywood would benefit from remembering why it is that we do what we do. And I'm not putting a blanket statement out saying no one in Hollywood recognizes that. Every once in a while, I will see a filmmaker or an actor or a composer that I'm like, they get it. They understand. Like Spielberg, I could be wrong. I don't believe he's truly forgotten his love of the film. Even the ones I don't like, I still am like, this guy is such a dork when it comes to movie making. And we need that. We need the dorks. We need these people who are making it not for the paycheck, but for the art. Him, Martin Scorsese, Francis Ford Coppola, all these classics who came in on that sort of renaissance. And now I think we're due for another renaissance. I think we're due for another generation of filmmakers. And I think because of social media and the new vertical films that are coming out, which I know David craps on those all the time, and that's fair, but it's happening. Whether we like it or not, virtual films are happening. I think I saw someone said Taye Diggs is doing virtual films now. So it's so they're just, it's the future. It's not going to replace anything. I think it's just going to be a new thing. Like when Blair Witch did found footage for the first time, and that sort of unlocked a version of filmmaking, and, which kind of led to The Office, which is sort of a found footage type TV show. So it's like, vertical films will evolve and turn into something that's very palpable. Hopefully, but there's always a new thing, but it needs to come from a place of love. You have to love what you do because you only get one shot at this. You only go around once. So it might as well be doing what you love.
Yeah, I think.
There you go. That's my long-winded answer. I could have just said, yeah, I think Hollywood could benefit. I could have just left it at that, but I just had to go on and on.
We love the long answers. We love the long explanations. Because, I definitely agree. And, the chat just said, it's a beautiful answer. It's the needed answer. Because if you had just said yes, anyone can say yes. But you going into the reasons why is what really convinces someone that we do need that. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but I don't think I could have been able to put it in such an eloquent way as you did.
Well, even a blind squirrel gets a nut every now and again. So I find that if I keep talking for long enough, something might eventually come out. I don't know.
Everyone has that Shakespeare in them. Wow. Oh my God. Okay, next question.
Hit me.
What do you love the most about your fellow cast?
How talented they are. I mean, really, it's incredible how I can just bounce anything off of them, and David's right there for me. And I can't go into the details yet about the finale or anything. So I don't want to accidentally spoil anything. But there'll be times where David will come up to me and we'll just be sitting in the dressing room and he'll be like, "Okay, what do you think about this? Tell me, what do you think about that? If we did this?" He was like, "If I did this, if I said this, because this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm thinking. We should add something where I do this and say this. What would Joker say in response?" And I'd be like, Joker would probably say something like this. And he'd be like, "Yes, I love it. Okay, then I would say this." And then you would say, and I would go, "This." And he was like, "Brilliant. I'm telling Noah we're shooting it." That's the kind of atmosphere, which is awesome as an actor to just know that I could throw anything out there and they're just going to take it. And Nick is equally talented. Just getting to talk with him. And then Johan, again, like I've talked about before, how he's taking those Meisner classes and just, him and I would go on and on and on. When we went to that theme park afterwards, there'd be times where him and I would just start talking and talking and talking and talking. It's incredible. And from what I've seen of Liz and how she's talked about it too, and what I've seen her do, she's also incredible. And even our goons like Eric, his abilities, his stunt abilities
It's
blow me
awesome.
away. And they're cool on camera, but let me tell you, watching him do it on set,
It's different.
it's so cool. I'm always so giddy because when you're watching someone do something you can't do, it just makes you even more giddy, you know? And so it's like, look at him
Oh
flip,
my
you
God,
know?
you did that!
You do a barrel roll, you know? But he says everybody, like there wasn't a weak leak. Like even the guys who came in to play all the Joker goons and stuff, like we're just like taking it all in and everything, and those creepy masks. So it's really just been wonderful to work with actors who listen and respond, because that's what it's all about.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm really just glad that y'all just like get along so well.
Yeah,
'Cause
because
it
that
really
would be awkward,
shows.
wouldn't it?
It would be a little awkward, I can't lie. But like it shows. It shows in the acting and everything.
Mm.
So and it just makes it for a better atmosphere at set overall. So that's definitely like a really good plus.
100%. 100%.
Now moving on to what everyone wants to know. What do you like about RHR in general?
Besides the fans, of course.
Of course, beside us.
The fans are definitely the thing I probably enjoy the most. And you know, again, the cast and crew, David, Noah, everybody. You know, they. It's like, how do you pick your favorite part of, you know, Christmas morning? It's like, you know, the tree, the presents, the food, all that stuff. It's like, no, it's all part of the atmosphere. How do you pick your favorite kid? I don't know. You know, it's the same thing with the on set. I love the cast, the crew, the fans, the fan art, the edits. Oh my God, the fan edits. Sometimes I just get lost on TikTok watching them all. I'm like, these are incredible. I'll show my wife. I'll be like, Kristen, look. My favorite part is how much people love it. The cast, the crew, the fans, everybody. My favorite part is without a doubt how much people love it, because that's all you hope for when you're doing stuff like this, you know?
Yeah. It really kind of solidifies the fact that, oh my God, I did that. Like, we made it, you know?
100%.
Yeah. Now, which RHR episode is your favorite?
My favorite that's out now.
Yes, preferably.
I would say probably episode 3. I would say episode 3 because I love the hallway fight sequence with David. It is probably one of my favorite things the series has done. I still am a huge Daredevil fan. And I love the Netflix series, and Daredevil Born Again is great. I love how they brought it back and they kept the cast and some of the writers and everything. I think that's great. But that original series, that first season, they came out with that hallway fight scene where Charlie Cox is still in like the Black Daredevil outfit, and he's going down the hallway just to rescue one person, and he's beating up the guy. One shot of that oneer. I was like when I first saw that, I was like, this is incredible. And so when episode 3 came out, well, and I saw he sent some of the previews before then, so I saw little clips, but to see the whole thing and to see how they made it like a oneer fight scene, I was like, so good. So without a doubt, episode 3 is my favorite just because of the oneer hallway fight sequence that felt like a kind of nod to the Daredevil.
It was such a good scene. Like,
good scene.
And I saw, like, I was there when Noah was editing it, and even when editing it, it was like so impressive. So to see, like, it was just, they pulled it off so well. They really did.
Yeah, they really did. I mean, I'm glad I wasn't in that scene, because I would have messed everything up. We would have had to shoot it 50 times. I would have been like, okay, Jackson, cut, stop it, whatever you're doing. You tripped over the guy.
Get it together. Oh my God.
Thankfully, I couldn't mess it up, so.
Okay, now, this was a good question, I think. What was it like to film Jason's death scene with David?
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes me seem like a sicko. But it was so great when we did that scene, because that was actually one of the first scenes we filmed, when I'm setting him on fire and everything. And whenever we were getting ready to shoot it, you know, it was the first thing we did. So the first, me in my Joker outfit, him with his camera, it's the first thing we did that wasn't just a read through of the script. And so I was just kind of like, with Noah, I was like, you know, if I wanted to improvise a little bit, can I? And he was like, yeah, do whatever you want. And I was like, okay, awesome. So doing the whole bit where I come up when I'm whistling, you know, that tune was improvised. When I'm whacking on him, and when you see the camera, when I go in the camera and go, you see, Bats, the kid ain't yours anymore. Because I love that from Arkham Knight. I love that scene because that quote is taken directly from Arkham Knight when Joker goes over to the camera and does that same bit. And so I was like, when we were there, he had a camera set up, like an old camera that Joker was supposedly recording what he was doing to Jason on, so that he could send it to Batman later or have Batman go find it. And but there weren't any lines, anything about me interacting with the camera, so I just threw that in there. And I remember afterwards when we cut, because then it was a separate take whenever I get the chain and he falls to the ground because I leave and come back, so that was a separate take. But whenever I did that for the first time, Noah was like, I love that you talked to the camera. That was great. So then we ended up inserting that POV shot of that camera whenever I come over and I'm talking to it. So then he added that. He's like, I want to do like a POV shot of you talking to the camera. And I was like, great. So that's a full-on taken right out of Arkham Knight. But yeah, it was so much fun. And then I have the crowbar because that went on forever. Like when you're watching it, you're watching all the cuts of me, like whatever. And I've talked about this with Noah before, is he's like, I don't think you remember how much you said during that scene. He's like, there's so many quotes and things that we didn't even use because it went on for so long. Because he's on the ground. I'm just beating him. I did a bit and they stuck it in there a little bit, which I like too. I had a Jack Nicholson reference, and it's one of those blink and you'll miss it, but I'm humming throughout the whole thing, Beautiful Dreamer. Where I'm like, and he stuck a little bit of that in there because that's Jack Nicholson's Joker, does that a lot in the Batman. Beautiful Dreamer's like his theme song. And so I put that in there a little bit. And then like, who's been a bad birdie? You, like that whole bit was completely improvised. They literally gave me the crowbar and he's like, okay, just go to town. And I was like,
oh my God.
Okay. And so and then I come over with the gas and he's like, yeah, just pour the gas on, just, go to town. And so get in the gas, everything. So that was literally just poor David being a pincushion. And me just going on and on and on. And I think I might have put in a little bit from Under the Red Hood. It ended up not making it in whenever I'm like, tell me what hurts more, A or B? But because I just went on for way too long. But he just let me go. And then finally he's like, okay, cut. Yeah, I have everything I need. And I was like, great. So somewhere out there's all the leftover footage that was left on the cutting room floor of that scene. And hopefully at some point it sees the light of day, because honestly, I don't even remember half of what I did at this point. And I'd love to just see more of that.
No, extended cut when? Honestly.
Yeah.
Whenever I find out more things that you guys improvised in the series, I'm blown away because it never seems that way. It never seems like it's improvised. So finding out, yeah, true. That is true.
Our jobs.
Finding out that this was improvised was insane. Also, about the humming, I legit thought that you were humming the Jeopardy theme at one point.
I was.
Okay.
I was. And it was that was completely improvised. It was one of those moments where David and I were having this, we just had so much fun. And he was in the chair and I would just get right up in his face, and the whole bit where, where I that was all that was improvised. It was literally just him and I having fun. And so I do the bit where I'm humming the Jeopardy theme, or My Little Teapot. I guess you could also say I was humming My Little Teapot, Short and Stout. Which I was also kind of thinking about at the same time, just because in the moment it just felt like this is what I would do. This is what I would do. I'm old school. I watch Joker, me as Joker, probably seen Jeopardy once or twice, and just and giving him that, just poking and prodding him literally as well as metaphorically. Was yeah. So you heard correctly. I'm telling you, him and I, especially in that pilot, because I know he doesn't, he's just taking it most of the time in that pilot. But for me, almost every single line and everything I do is was like a reference to something, because I didn't know if I was going to get to come back for the finale. I didn't know if it was going to be big enough to keep going. So I was like, I got to stick everything in here. I got to do everything I can to wink and nod at as many things as possible, because I don't know if I'm going to get to come back. And so I feel like I don't want to look back and go, oh, I should have done this, and oh, I should have done this. So I was like
No, but it
completely
definitely
drowning in the
worked.
source material.
It definitely worked. It's like all of these little things add to why it's like most people's favorite parts of the series, you know?
Yeah.
Because like I said on Friday, a lot of people come in, first thing they said, oh, I love Jackson as Joker. I want to see more of Jackson as Joker. So definitely
Aw,
going with that decision, it was great.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you guys dug that.
Hell yeah. And going a little bit still to like memory lane, what's your favorite memory or funny story with the cast and crew?
I think I'll say the funniest memory, or I'll say one of the funniest memories, was when we were shooting the pilot, and there was a break in between when we shot all the stuff in the building, and then of course the fight scene had to be at night, so there was this big window of time where we were waiting for the sun to go down, and we were taking a break at some point anyway, and so we were going out to get lunch, and I didn't want to take the Joker stuff off because I was like, first off, it took a long time to put it on. And I was like, secondly, I'm there, I'm in it. I feel like if I take it off and put it back on, I'm like restarting, and I really don't feel like restarting it. So I'll just keep it on. And so we were out, and our car pulled up to another car at some point, and I'm sitting in the back seat, and the guy looks over, and he's like, it's like I couldn't hear what he was saying. And then I just kind of looked over, and I was like, and then we drove away. And then like I think he was talking about, we went to Taco Bell or something. And so we're just in the drive-through, and I'm just in the back seat. And I'm calling my order up to him in the front, because he's like, Jackson, what do you want? And I'm like calling up my order in the Joker voice. And then like people are watching it. People are just kind of watching me. And I'm just sitting there in my Joker stuff, just eating. I can't remember if it was like Taco Bell or McDonald's or as we go, just like eating the stuff. And that was the funniest, because like Noah and David were just cackling. Like they just,
That's
I was,
so
here I
funny.
am in my Joker suit with the makeup on, wearing a little like bib so I don't get any like spots or anything on whatever I was wearing. It was a sight to behold.
I need to see this. Noah, is this in the behind the scenes? Is this going to be in the behind the scenes? Please tell me it's going to be in the behind the scenes. He's in
You know
chat
what I
right
look
now.
for? Because when we were doing that stuff, when we filmed that stuff in the interior, it was just me, David, and Noah. Because I think Lauren, I can't remember what she was working or something. So like she came that night to help us out with the fight scene. And she might have stopped by when we were doing the inside stuff, but it was really just me, Noah, and David when we did the torturing and all that. It was just the three of us. So I don't know, because I wouldn't have recorded it, and David wouldn't have. I know we got pictures, but I don't remember. I don't remember if there were any videos.
Yeah. No, I
Now
just said
there's
he
a lot
doesn't
of
know.
videos. Like when we
Now
did the
there is.
finale, there's a ton of videos, because obviously there's so many people now that there's a lot of people over there with their phone. But when we did that first episode, it was it was just the three of us.
That sounds funny. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Would have loved to see that.
So funny, so great.
Dang it. And speaking of funny, were there any lines? Well, of the pilot. We'll cover that with the finale next live. Were there any lines or scenes that were hard to shoot because of breaking character or emotionally draining?
Not really. I No, because everything was pretty straightforward. And I think it was because it was just one day, and there was this kind of there was this assumption that's like, we have to get it. We've got one day. We've got to get all this stuff. And there were definitely stuff that was harder, but I think because David and I, in those serious moments, were still like like laughing up, having a good time. Like even when he's chained up and I'm hitting him with the crowbar, like in between takes, like, hey, is this okay? And he's like, yeah, you can hit me harder. You can hit me harder. So it's like even in the serious moments, we were talking, we were communicating. If that had gone on for a week, then I think my answer would probably be pretty different. Because the longer you go with stuff like that, obviously, the more taxing it gets mentally.
Yeah.
I think the thing that helped us was just knowing we had such a tight window to get all of it. That was sort of the motivation. That was more on at least for me. That was more on my mind than the darkness. Because again, it was one of those things where I wanted it to kind of be dark. I wanted it to be twisted. The stuff that I was doing to David needed to be rough. Like I needed to go there because it launches the whole show. And so if I'm weak about it or too corny about it or too whatever, so I was like, there's a depth this needs to get, and I've got to bring it there. I've got to do what I can so that it's believable, so that it looks, because when you're watching it, I'll tell you, when you're watching it, it comes off way creepier than it did on set. Like there would be creepy, well, no one would be like, oh yeah, that's so creepy. Yeah, like that's good. Like there'd be that. But like when I watched it for the first time, I was like, damn, you know what I mean? Like the sound effect with the nail getting pulled and then me hitting him with the crowbar. It's like it looks way worse than it was when we were filming it.
Oh my God. No, yeah, definitely watching it has to be really, and then that really speaks again to Noah's talent, being able to make it look as creepy as it did and appear that way. So again, kudos to Noah, kudos to you, and kudos to David.
Kudos to all of them.
Kudos to everyone.
Yes, it was an actual crowbar. I saw someone say that. It was an actual crowbar.
Didn't David get smacked in the face with it by accident?
With the fake one.
With the fake
Thank
one.
God. Yeah, he was smacked in the face with the fake one. We were doing and I swung back and I got him. And actually, that's the take. Like the take where I'm on the ground and I'm like reaching for it and I grab it and I look up and I turn around and swing. I'd actually hit him in the face.
Oh my God.
And what was great about it was that, thank God, again, it got him right in the mask. So it was like we were like, because the problem was before then I wasn't getting close enough, and so we're like, okay, I was like, we need to get closer, and I got too close. But it shattered the mask perfectly. So it's like we have this perfect like half mask shattered that looks like it. Like I think you see it in the show, like the mask is broken when he turns around, he's spitting blood, and you only get half the mask. That was an accident. He was supposed to have the full mask for that whole bit. And so when it broke, Noah was like, let's keep it. Because at first we're like, do we stick it together? And he was like, no. Let's keep it.
It adds to it. Oh my God. Poor David keeps getting smacked around. That happened in episode 5. Sek accidentally uppercutted him during the fight scene with Deathstroke. And that shot was also kept. So
both times David was really hurt. Noah was like, oh no.
No. But Noah's like, keep it. So definitely poor David just getting smacked around.
It's like it looks like a real fight scene.
Yeah. So damn, small price to pay, I fear.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. At any point during doing the laugh and voice, have you like lost your actual voice?
Ooh, good question. No, but I got really close during the pilot. I got really close. Because I was doing the musical at the same time. And when I was doing the musical, I was doing like a high pitched, like a gravelly, like a New York voice when I was playing Nathan Detroit is what I was kind of doing. And then I'm singing at that voice too. Even now doing it, I have to cough. So it's great. Like I would do prep and stuff for it, so I was able to do it. But going straight from that and then teaching during the day, like to a classroom of people where I'm projecting the whole time, and then going to shoot that pilot, there was definitely part of me that was sweating because normally I can do the voice, but that was the day where I was like, ooh, I hope we're okay. And I had told Noah about it. That was like, hey, I think my voice is a little tired. So we got tea. He and Lauren were so sweet. They had tea prep for me. And so there were times I was really close. And the nice thing is, it really resulted in some really great laughs, I think, during the fight scene. No, not during the torture scene. There were a couple of times where I would laugh, listen, I don't know, maybe someone who's watching it who didn't know, doesn't know. But thank you, my wife. During people who didn't know, it might have just sounded natural or a choice or anything like that. But there are definitely a couple laughs where whenever I'm watching it now, I'm like, ooh, I can just hear how tired my voice was there. And what's funny is I think people are going to really notice it a little bit when they listen to it. With my normal voice, my speaking voice was the same. Like my Joker voice is the same. Because I actually find when my voice gets tired, the Joker voice gets in that sweet groove. Because it's got a little bit of a rasp to it. And so the longer I do it and the more raspy it gets, the juicier it becomes. But the laugh is the part that'll get strained. Because, you hear it. It's like, it's crazy. It's high-pitched. It's out there. And so I'm excited for people to see the finale for multiple reasons. One of those reasons is I think that when you hear the laughs and stuff in the finale, I think there might be at least one or two of you who's like, oh, his voice really was tired during the pilot. Because when I came back for the finale, Lauren was so sweet. She and Noah, they had all the teas for me and everything. And they're like, we've got you, properly. We've got our teas and stuff. But of course, this time I was not doing a play. I'd only just gotten Death of a Salesman. So I wasn't doing a show at the same time. And what's funny is I'd come back at night and I'd just sit in my chair and I'd have my tea and then I'd have like a cookie that Lauren made cookies and I'd have like a cookie in my tea and I'd have my little book and I'd be sipping my tea and Lauren would just be like, you're giving off major grandpa vibes right now. And I was like, I feel like a grandpa right now, sitting with my tea and my book and my little cookie. And then I always went to bed before everybody else did.
Oh my God.
I was like, I might be the grandpa here. I don't know. But it was just so great. It was so good. So definitely had full vocal capabilities for the finale. And it worked out for the pilot. But if it had been one more day, it would have been rough. But I just remembered Andy Serkis, how he had Gollum juice when he did Lord of the Rings. I'm like, I'm far from the first person that's done crazy voices for long periods of time. So that's when we did the tea. And as I find that actually, I was told this by a castmate that the best combination is, I think it's peppermint tea. It's get a peppermint tea medicine ball from Starbucks, apparently. And I can tell you every time that it would work, that I would do that. And all of a sudden it would just unlock that stuff. It'd be twice as tired the next day because I'd be using what I didn't have. But it worked, you find a way to keep on keeping on.
I'm gonna add that to my list of little tricks to keep my voice going. Cause I sing with a choir, a professional choir. So when the rehearsals run long or concert day even, I'm gonna keep that one in mind. Usually what we do, just take 2 shots of tequila. You'll be fine.
Okay, since you said that, I can say my other thing I used. I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to come off like an alcoholic, but you said it, so I feel I'm safe to do it. I had my artistic director at the time, one of these artistic directors I've worked for, he taught this to me. You take either a shot of Jack honey or just a shot of whiskey with honey in it. Heat it up in the microwave for about 20 seconds. Knock that back. It has worked every single time. Every time.
Gonna write that down.
Particularly with
literally
singing.
Right now.
Particularly with singing. You heat it up, you get it so it's almost hot whiskey. I mean, specifically, he said get it to as hot as it can be where it's not going to burn you. And then you either get specifically honey whiskey or you put honey in regular whiskey, and then you just take that shot. And with my speaking voice, there doesn't always seem to be a huge difference, but when I'm singing or when I'm doing the laugh, I find that it because that alcohol and that whiskey plus the honey coats the throat and then the whiskey clears the nostrils. And so you feel like it just opens up this whole airway. So, okay, since you said that, I felt like I could say the medicine ball works too. But if you have access to whiskey and honey, that's
definitely we'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Thank you for the tips.
Yes, a hot toddy. Yes, like someone said, very similar to a hot toddy. Just hold the tea.
Just hold the tea. Oh my God. Moving on to our next question.
Tell me.
Would you be willing to share your playlist that help you get into character or help the cast get excited for the shoot?
100%. I don't think I have it on private, so yeah, I can share it. I guess I could put it in Discord, wherever it's
Yeah.
gonna be.
I'll tell you which channel to put it in and then add everyone and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, you can stay tuned. I will add that there. Every once in a while I'm still adding a song or two to it, so it's never like finished. But the base of it is there. And that way you can listen to it and see what kind of psychoness I get into the mindset whenever I'm doing it.
We love to see it. The edits that are gonna come in from that will be crazy.
Yeah, I
We'll
can't
have
imagine
a
what they
lot.
could really say here.
Lot of edits coming in. That's gonna be awesome.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Okay, kind of fun question. Was the Joker crash out scene on YouTube improvised?
Completely. It was completely improvised. We were having our lunch break, and Noah and Lauren had this little like digital camera that they were like, we're gonna use this to take some fun pictures and stuff, so that like it looks like old school or whatever. And so then they got the idea. It's like, oh, let's do a bit where like the goons are getting lunch, and we're showing the goons at lunch. And then he just comes over to me and he's like, hey, give him like, I don't know, give him a couple minutes and then just walk in on him. And I was like, okay, was there anything you want me to say? And he was like, no, just. And I was like, oh, okay. I'll just do my thing. So I just walked in. We did it in one take. I did it. And he was like, cut, that's great. I love it. And then that was it. But yeah, no, completely improvised. Could not have been more improvised. Just saying that, sorry. I might have to plug my phone in a second.
It's okay. We are already at like the tail end of our questions, so if you have to go to charge your phone, no worries.
Okay. I'm okay at the moment. But I might all of a sudden go, wait! And that's what I'm talking about. And then my face might freeze, and that's why I'm getting my phone just now.
Maybe a new meme comes from that. But this next question is really interesting. How does your Joker want Jason to think of him, or / how does the Joker feel about Jason? Just a victim or his creation?
Ooh, I love that. All right, I'm gonna try to answer this as best as I can without spoiling
spoilers.
anything in the finale. No, we don't have to be almost done. I can answer as many questions as we need. Just have to make sure I don't die on you, that's all. But that's been one of the most fun things to play around with, because in the pilot, Jason is a means to an end. My end goal is Batman, obviously. Batman's the end game, is always the end game. And, you know, to prove that all it takes is one bad day. And I didn't think Jason was going to make it out, you know? I thought he was going to die. But I think now that obviously he's not dead, there's a shift. And I think that's what's interesting about the whole thing. Because it went from being a means to an end that's dead, that if I see again, won't be until I'm in hell, right? You know, see you in hell. But then to know that he's still alive, I think changes things a little bit. Because I talked about, David and I would talk about this all the time, and Noah, like we would literally, we should just record one of these sessions one time. The hard part is we'll pontificate about it for hours, and they'll pontificate for even longer than me. But half the time it's filled with spoilers. So there's no way to like ever record it without spoiling stuff. But really we go deep. We go really deep. And one of the things that we were talking about is he was asking, and like David had an answer for what he thought. And then Noah, of course, has his opinion of what he thought. And for me personally, I always thought it was like, I saw a new opportunity. I see a new opportunity with Jason. Because the end game is always Batman. That never changes. Yeah. So how can I use Jason now that he's still alive to get to Batman? If Jason kills me, then Batman has to take him down. And so then I get to pit Batman up against his son. And that, because, you know, that's like, how do I leave an impact on Batman? It's by torturing him even after I'm gone. And so it's like, I don't care if I die. Do you know what I mean? If he kills me, then Batman has to take him down. He's forever in Arkham. You know, he's unless, and then if he fights Batman, then there's a chance maybe even Jason will kill Batman because Batman would never kill Jason. And that's like the gift that keeps on giving, which is a little bit of a, not like a literal nod, but a pseudo nod to the Dark Knight Returns, particularly in the film version with Michael Emerson's version of the Joker. There's just that sort of idea that just as Batman sort of transcends the icon, Joker transcends that icon, and so I think I continue to see Jason as a means to an end. But if I had to put like like if on LinkedIn or Facebook, if I had to put a relationship status with Jason, I would say father, son. I would say I'm his daddy.
Oh my God. You have those. Honestly, and I love that you mentioned that, pitting Jason and Batman against each other because it's a nod to Under the Red Hood as well, to that final confrontation.
I love that. And John DiMaggio does such a great version with that too.
It's so awesome. This next question is really funny.
Tell me.
Do you feel as though your golf game improved with your crowbar swinging practice?
No, but I bet I would have one hell of a birdie.
Ah!
Hey!
That was a great pun. I can't even lie. That was a great pun.
I have to do it. It's unfortunately that is one part of my that is the most authentic version of myself I brought to the role is a bad sense of humor.
It works, and it's greatly appreciated.
Oh.
Okay, we are on to our final 4 questions.
Oh, we're already at the final 4?
Yes.
Man, oh my gosh. Oh, all right. I'll give 4 extra long answers.
Yeah. Do you have any projects of your own that you wish to start?
It's a good question. I've always been very fluid. And where I just like to join other people's projects. I spend a lot of time auditioning and stuff like that and helping other people tell their stories. I don't often think about my own, but I actually do a lot of writing. And I've written several plays. I've written a lot of screenplays. I just got done writing a novel.
Whoa.
And so it's just like I like writing. I enjoy it. It's something that I really dig doing. So as far as one of my own projects goes, I wrote one that came out. I wrote a screenplay. It took me a couple of years to write that I really want to do. That actually, what's funny is I wrote it with my wife in mind. And she's Hispanic, and I wrote it takes place in the 1800s, and you have this girl who becomes an outlaw because her family's killed, and she learns how to be an outlaw, and she's like this badass, female outlaw who ends up numbing herself because the fact that her family was killed, but then has an opportunity to thaw again when she falls in love with a local priest. And I loved that. I wanted to write something specifically for my wife because I feel like a lot of the auditions, she's very beautiful. So unfortunately, it feels like she only ever reads for like dancers and hookers and prostitutes because she's like, I'm a person that can act. I'm not just beautiful. And so I originally wrote it with that in mind of like, I'll write something cool for her to star in, where she can be. And then it just ended up kind of turning into this huge project that I just have been spending a lot of time on, and I've submitted the feature film to several festivals, and now I'm working on actually trying to write it as a book, and trying to get it going as a book called Muerta, because that's what she goes by as the outlaw, is La Muerta. Yeah. So, but that's something, the budget and everything that would require is not even within my mental capacities to grasp. So that's why right now it's a screenplay that I submit, try to get it sold. And in the meantime, writing a book, trying to pull a perks of being a wallflower and getting maybe the book out first and then the screenplay later. So we shall see.
Well, if it ever actually comes out as a book, I would love to read La Muerta because it sounds awesome. Like,
Oh,
seriously, if it ever comes out, we will promote the heck out of it because it really
y'all would be
sounds
the
like
first
a.
to know. If I'm ever fortunate enough to get it to that place, y'all would be the first to know.
It sounds awesome. It sounds really awesome.
Hmm.
Okay, I don't know how to say this in English. Second, no, third to last question.
Okay.
Coming back to how you mentioned Injustice Joker, if you have played the games, who would you say are your Injustice mains?
Joker. I always liked Joker because I felt like he if it wasn't like if I wanted to have fun, I would do Black Adam.
Yeah.
But what I liked about Joker is he should, I'm not gonna say he shouldn't be there, but his power level compared to the other options is the joke. And so I always was like, if I can be good at Joker, then maybe I'd be underestimated. That when I'm playing with friends and I pick Joker, they'll think, oh, he's just picking Joker because he likes Joker. But then if I could end up being really good, it'd be like, oh, what? Like, what? How did you beat me as Joker? I never got good enough to be that, but that's always how it would go in my brain. I'm like, I'll get so good. Kind of like I would play Smash Brothers. I would try to play Pichu all the time because I'm like, man, if I pick Pichu, people are going to be like, oh, easy out.
I made
I
that
would try to
mistake.
get good at Pichu. It just never happened. You know, it's the same
I
thing
made
with the
that
Joker.
mistake. My brother plays Peach. And the first time I played with him, I said, why are you playing Peach? She's like, she does nothing. He beat me like horrible. He wiped the floor with me with Peach.
It's
I
a
will never
strategy.
underestimate anyone playing her ever again.
It is 100% a strategy.
Yeah. So keep working on it. I feel like you could get it. I feel like you could get to that
Yeah,
point.
maybe we should do a live stream. All the cast plays Injustice.
Dude, that's been like in Noah's I want to do this with the cast thing for forever. So maybe at some point that can be coordinated because I know he
I
wants
think
to
we
do
make it
that
happen.
and David wants to do it as well. So definitely gonna keep that in the bucket list.
I think so too.
All right. Now on to our final two questions, which is pretty much two questions in one.
Okay.
So a lot of the time, we get new DC fans coming to the server. Like I found DC through RHR. This was my first exposure to DC. Knowing that this series is how some new fans are getting into the wider DC universe. What do you hope that? How would you hope that your interpretation, like, what do you want them to take away from your interpretation of the Joker as their first impression of the character?
What would I want them to take away from the Joker as their first impression of the character?
Yes, like if they were a new DC fan.
If if I'm their first Joker that they watch,
Yeah.
oh man. Uh I hope what they take away is go watch the other stuff. I hope what they take away is, man, Joker, wow, I want to go watch the Batman. I want to go watch Mask of the Phantasm. I want to rewatch the animated series. I want to go watch The Dark Knight. Like, I hope if we do our jobs right, then I feel like what we'll do for the new fans is make them want to go back to the source. Go back to the comic books, go back to the video games, go back to the movies that did it right and the TV shows that did it right. Even Gotham. Like, I actually really liked Gotham. I thought Gotham made some choices towards the end, but I feel like for the most part, like Cameron Monaghan as the Joker, awesome. So I think, there's so many our thing only exists because we're pulling from what's come before us. So I think it would be only appropriate if the people who watched our stuff were inspired to go look at what inspired us. It's sort of like if you're big into reading, if you're a big reader, whoever your favorite author is, it's fun. Look up who their favorite author was and then go read that. And then look up that person's favorite author and go read that. And I did that recently with Stephen King. I'm a huge, huge Stephen King fan. If I'm picking up a book and I'm saying, who's your favorite author? Stephen King, 100%. He's a brilliant writer. And if you look at like who inspired him, it's like, okay, who inspired him? It's like, okay, well, H.P. Lovecraft, and then like a couple of other authors. So then you go read their stuff. And like when I read H.P. Lovecraft was like, who inspired him? Mary Shelley. So then you go back and you read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. It's like you see, it's like this chain of events. Or Tolkien, like I love Tolkien. I read a ton of Tolkien. And okay, well, who inspired him? It's like, well, a lot of it was the Greek mythology, like, as well as other things like Beowulf. He loved the Odyssey and the Iliad, and that's where a lot of his. And so it's like, when someone does it right, you want to see who they learned it from. You want to see where they got their love for what it is that they do. And so I would love it if someone watched this and was like, I want to see what inspired them. I want to go read what inspired them. I want to go play what inspired them.
That's an amazing answer. And yeah, it has happened. Like people find DC through RHR and they end up loving DC, and they talk more about it. They find other stuff. They find new favorite characters. So definitely,
Yes. Well, and that just reminded me with the Joker, there's an old black and white movie called The Smiling Man. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, or The Man Who Laughs. I can't remember it now. It might be The Man Who Laughs. Man, I'm butchering my own reference. But there was this old black and white about a guy who can't stop smiling and he can't stop laughing, which of course is where a lot of Joaquin Joker's things kind of come from, except instead of just laughing, it's also smiling. Like he can't stop smiling. And it's so good, but that's where the Joker influence kind of comes from. And it's this, and then you look at what inspired that. It's beautiful. I mean, the most important thing is to remember what Paul Giamatti's character said in the film, The Holdovers, right? Every generation thinks they invented everything, but really it's been here this whole time. And that the past is not just in the past, it is an explanation of the present. And I think that holds true with all this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, someone in chat just said that RHR was the first DC media they ever watched. So there you go.
Yes. So now go.
Now go. Watch
precious
everything else.
Baby bird, go. Dive in. There's so much material. I envy you.
There's so much. Like, I wish I could just find everything for the first time again.
What was your introduction into DC? What was the very first thing? Was it a comic book, movie, TV show? What was the very first thing that you remember?
So my first impression of DC was watching Christopher Reeve's Superman with my dad. And after that, when I finally had a bit more like consciousness, when I got to like kindergarten and stuff, it was watching the animated Teen Titans show. And
Titans.
So like my introduction was like Justice League Unlimited, Teen Titans, Young Justice, which I appreciate a whole lot because of the sheer amount of characters that they have in those shows. It definitely made me appreciate more so than just, the main Justice League or like the popular secondary characters. And definitely watching Superman with my dad, it shaped a lot of how I am as a person today. So
and the fact you got to watch that with your dad is so special too.
Yeah, like that. Me watching that with my dad is probably one of my favorite memories.
It's crazy when you think about what introduced you to anything that you love, but specifically DC, because that's what we're talking about. How that's what kind of leaves that. And for me, it was Batman the Animated Series. That was my introduction. The theme song, the Batman on black rooftops with a red background. I mean, it will never not make me feel something, And for other people, it was Michael Keaton's Batman. For other people, it was the comic books. For other people, it was the video games. For someone, it's Red Hood. It's just
Resurrection. It can come
what
from
a gift to be
anywhere,
a part of such a legacy,
right? And it really came full circle for me because I watched the new Superman movie with my dad. And that movie came out the day before my birthday. So,
the fact that it starts and you hear the and you're like, I had chills, and I was like, James Gunn knows what he's doing.
Yes, and I love that movie. And I can't wait to see Supergirl as well.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I
have a reminder on my phone to get the tickets as soon as they become available.
Yes, they should be available as soon as June, like June-ish. We'll see.
Nice.
But I'm really excited.
Also, I saw
I'm
someone in the
excited.
comments who recommended Mask of the Phantasm. I'm just gonna throw in real quick. Absolutely. If you watch one other thing after Red Hood Resurrection, watch Mask of the Phantasm. A lot of what I do from the Joker, I take from Mark Hamill, but specifically his stuff from the Arkham games and Mask of the Phantasm. There's a scene at the end. I don't want to spoil it, but he's laughing. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to say, so he just laughs. And that is my inspiration for every time I laugh as the Joker, is that scene. I think it's one of the best Joker scenes ever. The fact that he's there, he doesn't know what to say, and all he can do is just hang there and laugh. I'm like, that's it. That's it for me.
Someone in the comments asked what's gonna happen after the finale comes out. We're not going anywhere.
After the finale, we all just disappear.
Because
snaps his fingers, and we all.
we just move into air. No, but seriously, we're not going anywhere. There's still a lot that we want to do. That
Well, and there's a lot of stuff that yeah, I can't say.
Yeah, we can't really say too much, but we're not going anywhere yet, and the community will always be here. So you get to hang out with us. I now have an annual subscription for Kahoot, so
Yeah, you do.
so we're gonna be doing that all summer.
Oh goodness.
Oh man. Well, Jackson, that was all of your questions. How are you feeling?
Right. I feel good. I feel it's been great to talk about all this stuff. I love it. Thank you everyone who asked questions, even the ones that we didn't answer or that we answered because we answered someone else's questions. Thank you so much. There's a way, I think, for me to look at the questions so I can see everybody's questions, even if I haven't answered them, and I can take a look. I really appreciate everyone's love and support. Not really even for me, but for the project and for the finale that's happening, 1 week from tomorrow. There's a lot of exciting things that are going on, and it's all a side effect of your love and support and how much you care. And so thank you guys. And then of course, again, everybody, say thank you to Nita, because she's incredible, and the way she put all this together, and the other moderators and everyone on Discord and all of that. We can't do this without any of you guys taking the helm so selflessly and helping us to reach y'all. So so thank you, Nita. You're incredible.
Thank you.
And this has been wonderful. I've loved this. Hopefully we get to do it again in the future.
I mean, I'm sure we will. There's probably going to be one after the finale, and I'm hoping most of you can join so we can all just kind of hang out, talk
right
to
after
fans.
the finale.
Probably right after the finale.
Monday night, maybe.
Monday night works.
Here we go.
I'll message the group chat, see what we all think.
Yes.
'Cause I can definitely get that coordinated. But yeah, I mean, thank you so much for being willing to do this. Honestly, everyone, I cannot stress this enough. You doing a Q&A has been probably some of the most anticipated thing that the people have wanted, every single time. We want Jackson to do a Q&A, we want Jackson to do a live. When's Jackson going live? So being finally able to do this is awesome. And I'm sure everyone that was here in the chat the entire time, or those that will watch the recording later, will be super excited to watch the whole thing.
Well, I'm so glad. You guys are very kind. I know, because I did the pilot and then I've been gone for a little bit, so I thought it was best to wait until the finale was coming out, and then after the finale, I'm sure we can do another one at some point, and I can go in more details about that and everything. But thank you guys. You guys are awesome. I love y'all.
So whenever you're ready, you can end the live. But yeah.
And then how do I end it? Where do I end it? Oh, is it the power button up top?
Yes.
That's it? Okay, then. So then right before we go, there's something really important I have to say about what happens in the finale.